benefit piece of the puzzle. On accumulation, we track values daily. There's 3 global diversified index options with JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and SocGen. And then to pair with any or all of those, you have a smart version of the S&P 500 with the NYSE Zebra Edge. And that's developed by Roger Ibbotson, the developer of the SBBI chart back in the 70s as well. Real quick on crediting strategies that will be available to you in the Nationwide New Heights. Last October, we launched 1-year crediting strategies for the first time ever. You can see those par rates here. You're going to be in the high 100s. And then if you want to go full speed ahead, on the 9 and 12-year versions of the product, you'll have 3-year crediting strategies as well. You can see the par rates. The longer you go out, the more cost-effective the hedge is. We can get those par rates on the Goldman Sachs index all the way up in the 300s. Pick and choose. The point is you have options as an advisor. If you're more comfortable, you want the security of locking in gains every single year, you go with the 1 year. If you really want to swing for the fences, especially knowing you have the guaranteed income rider on there, you go with the 3-year. Now, whether you're in the 1-year or the 3-year version of these crediting strategies, you as the advisor have a one-time lock-in feature where, let's say you're in the 3-year crediting strategy, Mark. You've had a really good 2 years. You don't like where the market is. You can call or fax into Nationwide before market close, 4 p.m. Eastern, any day of the week, and lock in that index performance and lock out the downside for the rest of that crediting strategy. This was a super popular feature back in 2020 during COVID. You know, S&P 500 went down 35% in 6 weeks. We had a lot of advisors utilizing this feature to lock out those losses and lock in the gains that they had secured to that point. You can use this feature if you're willing to diversify your crediting strategies. You can use it on a case-by-case basis. Let's say you were 50% Goldman, 50% Zebra. You don't have to make an all or nothing call. You could lock in one strategy and let the other one run as well, which I know a lot of advisors like that flexibility. So that's the Nationwide New Heights. Again, the majority of the business comes in with the guarantee. Yeah, go for it, Mark.
I add to that. Sorry, it's just just another incredible feature from Annexus and Nationwide. So, whether you buy the 1-year strategies or the 3-year strategies, right? Those are locking in every 1 year or 3 years. That's an automatic lock-in that occurs. However, it's the only product in the industry. If you decide to lock early, you can do it, and it's just, it's just quite remarkable because there's no other product doing that for an early lock-in. Now, once you lock in, you do move to the sideline for the remainder of the, the 1-year term or the 3-year term. You move to the sideline until the end of that term, and then you jump back into the index. But it's just a cool selling feature, being able to lock in early. So thanks.
Absolutely. So again, 75% of the business comes in with the income rider. But we do have advisors using this for just straight accumulation as well. 8, 9, 10, and 12 years are your options on the Nationwide New Heights. Now, last but certainly not least, this is our newest product, Mark. We launched it about 2 years ago. It's called the North American Secure Horizon. So nothing new here in terms of carrier quality, A+ rated again, super sales friendly as well for the advisors on the call. In terms of getting your business issued in a timely fashion, in terms of getting you through suitability, and just really an easy and well-run company to work with in addition to the A+ rating. Now, you have some options here, 3 different versions of the product. The North American Secure Horizon is a 10-year accumulation product. The North American Secure Horizon Plus is the same 10-year accumulation product, but with that 4-in-1 retirement rider I mentioned earlier, as well as a 20% cash bonus. And then for older clients, for someone who doesn't want their money locked up at the insurance company for the full 10 years, you have 5- and 7-year options as well. I'm going to start with the 10-year accumulation option here today. with that North American Secure Horizon. So you have a variety of crediting strategies to choose from, 1 year point to point, 2 year point to point, and then a performance strategy ladder where we've really recreated the bond or CD ladder that, you advisors have been familiar with for a number of years, if not decades. We've rebuilt that inside of an FIA. It's the first of its kind, and I'll touch on that here as we go through. On your 1 year point to points, similar to the BCA and the Nationwide, you have a fee-based crediting strategy for each index with higher participation rates. And if you don't want to add the fee, the par rates are still super attractive in the strategy Bs. Obviously, if you go from a 1 to a 2 year point to point, the par rates are going to go higher, the illustrated rates are going to go higher, and then the highest is going to be on this performance strategy ladder. So why is that? Let me show you how this works. So automatically for you as the advisor, if you put your client into this strategy ladder, we are going to divide that premium into 5 different buckets. So client puts $100,000 in. We're going to put $20,000 into a straight 1 year point to point. You can see the par rate there of 245% in green. 20 grand into a 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year. And look at those par rates. We grow from all the way at 245 all the way up to 500% on that 5 year crediting strategy. To my knowledge, Mark, that's the highest participation rate in the industry right now. But you don't have to allocate 100% of the funds to that in order to get your client access to that. So you can see here, we go through the first 5 years. We're locking in one bucket each of the 5 years. But I want you all to go back to that 1 year bucket with me real quickly. So we've gone through 12 months. We've locked in the gains. Automatically now, at North American, we will renew into the highest participation rate available. And we're just going to repeat this process years 6 through 10 that we did years 1 through 5, locking in a bucket of gains every single year. And then at the end of year 10, we'll lock in the entire contract, and you and your client are free to revisit what you want to do with that money. As the slide says, this is 100% set it and forget it for you as the advisor. This all happens behind the scenes at North American. And I know there's some moving parts to this, guys, but I can tell you since we launched this thing 2 years ago, 80% of the premium is allocated to this performance strategy ladder. So it's definitely something you want to learn and definitely something you want to get comfortable talking about because it's really resonating out there in the market. Index-wise, similar to the BCA, similar to the Nationwide, we have global options for you, well-diversified options for you with the Loomis Sales and the newly launched Research Affiliates Index. And then we have some more traditional S&P options for you with the S&P Prism and the S&P Low Vol 5. I want to spend a moment on the S&P Prism because this is a really special story in terms of actual index performance. So that index went live in February of 2018. It has posted positive gains every single calendar year since 2018. It's the only index out of over 250 that can make that claim, Mark. And, you guys can allocate however you want to, but given the track record of actual live performance, not backcasted performance, I think that one deserves a closer look for all your advisors. Now, you have the option to add the retirement rider to the North American Secure Horizon. So whether you chose a 1 year point to point, whether you chose that performance strategy ladder, when you add the rider and it costs 1.2% in most states, you get not only a 20% cash bonus, but you're also going to cover your client for 4 things they're all thinking about. Whether they're telling you about it or not, they're all thinking about these 4 different risks as they enter retirement. And let me show you how comprehensive this is. So the first benefit is called Plan Gap. That is a Social Security protection if the U.S. government were to ever cut Social Security on your client. In addition to that, you have a 2 of 6 ADL benefit as a 7-pay. You have a 5-pay enhanced death benefit, And for those of your clients that are lucky enough to reach age 85 and none of those first three things have happened to them, we can protect them for longevity risk as well with this rider in terms of a lifetime income stream later on in life. So I hope what you're starting to see is the comprehensive nature of this rider, not just a death benefit rider, not just an income rider, but truly a retirement rider where your clients can feel protected against any or all of these four risks. The way it works, quite simply, whichever crediting strategy you choose, whatever the gains are in a given year, we're simply going to double them and add them to the benefit base. And think of that benefit base really as a pool of money. By the way, the 20% bonus gets added both to the account value and also the benefit base when you issue the contract. So, Mark, let's dig into each one of these four benefits quickly. So, listen, I know it's a hot button topic. Whether your advisors think this is actually going to happen, whether I think it's actually going to happen, the fact of the matter is, if any of your clients log on to ssa.gov today, the U.S. government's telling them in 2033, so 9 years from now, if we do nothing about this as a country, we are 23% short in terms of the amount of money we need to pay people their Social Security. So if we were to all wake up in 2033 and one of your clients had their Social Security cut on them by more than 3%, we can now start to think about how we might access that pool of money. So let's say your benefit base grew to $500,000 over the next 9 years. What we would do if that happened to your clients, and I can tell you it works if there's a wholesale change in Social Security. It would also work if they did something like means testing on an individual basis. Your client would be able to call into North American and say, hey, I want to turn on my plan gap Social Security benefit. And what we do is simply divide that pool of money into 12 annual payments, Mark, and start paying the client out over the next 12 years to help fund that income gap that's been created by the reduction in Social Security. It's the only Social Security benefit in the industry, and it, at the very, very least, guys, this is an awesome conversation starter for you at the point of sale. Whether you're talking about Social Security in your seminars, whatever the case may be, this is an awesome thing to start the conversation with your client. Now, ADL benefit. This is a 7-pay instead of a 12-pay for the Social Security benefit. It's also a 7-pay instead of a 5-pay. Some of you have probably been using income doublers throughout your careers. I can tell you, I've had multiple advisors over the last 2 years tell me they'll never sell an income doubler again once they see this product. And let me explain why. So same pool of money, $500,000, we divide it by 7 and start paying them out $71,000 a year. Now, here's the important point. Statistically speaking, if one of your clients loses 2 of 6 ADLs today, they are only expected to live 2.6 years longer. Not fun to talk about, but kind of makes sense. You know, they're not in good health. They're likely going to pass away sooner rather than later. If that happens, they've taken their 2 payments of 71 grand, as it says on the slide. We pay the remaining 5 payments to their beneficiary. So somehow, some way, your client and their family are going to get access to that entire pool of money. Obviously, with a guaranteed income doubler, Mark, it doesn't work that way. You die 2.5 years into your 5 years of doubled income, you don't get the remaining 2.5 years. And oh, by the way, the dirty little secret, when you turn on that doubled income, similar to the American equity story I showed you before, your cash value is heading towards 0 pretty quickly.
Right.
Now, we covered the Social Security, we covered the ADL benefit. Death benefit, quite simply, we're going to take the benefit base and we're going to pay them out the entire benefit base over the next 5 years as an enhanced death benefit. Up to the beneficiary, if they want the lump sum, they can have the cash value up front, but you know, the gap between the two, because we're doubling the gains, it's going to be in most people's best case scenario to take the enhanced death benefit. And like I said earlier, Mark, for those clients lucky enough, they get to age 85, they're still in good health, they haven't had their Social Security cut, they can turn on a lifetime income stream. We're effectively going to annuitize the entire pool of money, the benefit base, and pay them a lifetime income stream. In this case, a benefit base of 500 grand would be about 28,500 in income for the rest of their lives, but it's life with cash, and that's an important point. So they turn this on at age 85, they pass away at age 90, whatever's left in the cash value now still gets passed on as a death benefit to their spouse or their children, whatever the case may be.
That's great.
So
Yeah.
what I hope everyone on the call can see as we've walked through the 4 different benefits is just how comprehensive this is. There is a client-approved brochure available to you. We have a super successful advisor with this product who literally slides the brochure across the table and says, Mr. and Mrs. Client, which one of these 4 risks as you enter retirement concern you the most? What does not happen is they say, you know what, I've done an awesome job planning for all 4 of these things. I'm in great shape. Inevitably, they're going to pick one, if not all 4.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Hey, Nate, just a couple comments on the product. It's almost like a Swiss Army knife of products because you can buy it for the 20% bonus. You can buy it for the great growth that you can find in the ladder. You could buy it for legacy, home health care, Social Security protection. I mean, it's a Swiss Army knife of annuities. And back to the 20% bonus, if you come across old annuities that are underperforming, or maybe the client lost some money in 2022 in their 401k and they did a big bonus to, try to get back to whole. North American's been very friendly. That 20% bonus is truly a cash bonus and is being used to offset mostly underperforming annuities. So there's just a great opportunity to go back to the existing book of business or look for older annuities and put them in the new technology, so to say. So thanks.
Exactly right, Mark. I like to say that, listen, every part of this product is not going to resonate with every single client. However, there is definitely one aspect of this product that's going to resonate with 100% of your clients, whether it's the ADL benefit, whether it's the Social Security, whether it's the bond ladder that we've rebuilt inside the FIA. Something is going to resonate with your clients when you start talking to them about this suite of products. Now, to finish up here today, Mark, we're going to touch on the short-dated versions, the 5 and 7 year of the North American Secure Horizon Choice. So you're going to have a 1-year crediting option. You're going to have a very similar version of that performance strategy ladder, and you're going to be able to add that same rider on the 5 and 7 year chassis, and I'll explain how that all works here in a second. So annual point to point, again, fee, no fee, pick whatever applies to your individual clients. And then with the ladder, you can see you're going to get some extra participation and therefore some extra potential accumulation if you allocate to the ladder. 5-year version of the ladder, Mark, a little easier to understand than the 10-year. Over here at Annexus, we like to call it the step ladder. But same idea, 20% of the money, 5 different buckets. But because we're in a 5-year contract instead of a 10-year, all we're going to do when each of those buckets locks in the gains is backfill it with the number of years left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year buckets on the front end, and then we're going to backfill it with 4, 3, 2, 1 on the back end. And then again, same concept. Lock in 100% of the gains at the end of year 5 and revisit the conversation with your client in terms of what they want to do with that money. On the 7-year, because it's a 7-year instead of a 5-year, we're able to offer higher participation rates, and therefore the illustrated rates will go up as well. And then my final point here, and this is really important, most riders, whether it's income or death benefit in our industry, you're only able to issue them up to age 79, maybe age 80. With this one, you can actually issue it all the way up to age 85. So you get an older client walks in your office, they are worried about losing 2 of 6 ADLs. They want to juice up a death benefit late in life to leave some money to their family. Whatever the case may be, you can add the same 4 benefits we just walked through in detail, but the charge is only 50 basis points. So that 20% bonus Mark and I both talked about, not available on the 5 and 7 year, but you get quite the reduction in terms of the charge for the rider because that bonus is not there. We go from 120 on the 10 year with the 20% bonus all the way down to 50 basis points. So listen, not everyone that walks in your door is 81, 82 years old, depending on where you're at in the country. But this is a really innovative solution for someone who's later in life and wants to solve for one of these 4 risks. So with that, Mark, I want to say thank you to you and to Quantum and to your advisors for the time today. And I'll pass it back to you to wrap up.
Yeah, Nate, thank you so much. You guys are wonderful over there at Nexus. Just in closing, I think Nexus, constantly puts out the best products. You guys have the best portfolio of products to solve all the different pain points for the client, whether it's an upfront bonus, whether it's income, whether it's growth, home health care, legacy. You solve all these different pain points all under one platform, which I love. Guys, thanks for joining us on the call today. I'm going to wrap it up. If you don't have access to Maya Nexus, please give me a call. I'll get you all set up for the website where you can access all these different wonderful tools, product materials, illustrations, things of that nature. Everyone, thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to talking with you soon. Have a great day.
Hey, guys, I hope that fired you up because I've been in this industry for a long time, and I've had a lot of different annuity partners to help us. I have never been as excited about an annuity partner as I am about Quantum and all the tools and the resources they provide. It's amazing. It's next level. Their advanced markets, their resources. I know Trey just got done from being out there visiting. I'm going out there this week. I think we're going to do an additional training just to help you guys understand all of the tools and the resources and how to leverage the relationship with Quantum. Who'd be down for that? Awesome. So we're gonna facilitate that. We're gonna make that happen. So I'm excited about that. I want you guys to know today's training. This video is already in the Elevation GroupMe for you guys to watch over. Me, I am not the quickest learner in the world. Okay, I struggle a little bit. So I've developed a learning system over my career. I watch something the first time and I try to get as much out of it as I can. But I go back and I watch it or I read it a second time and I take copious notes, okay? And it helps in my comprehension of it. Then I go back a third time and I do it so that I can learn how to teach it to others, okay? So you want to learn this information for yourself. You want to start to master it, but then you want to be able to teach it to other people. That's where the growth in your business occurs. Okay, so this video is available to all of you guys to leverage and watch over and over and over because there was so much amazing information in it. But with that being said, some of it may have gone over our heads a little bit because some of us are brand new to annuities and annuities can be very confusing. So these next few speakers are going to put a nice little bow on everything and they're going to help you learn a lot more about annuities. And I want you to understand there's different types of annuities. Don't ever try to make an annuity a perfect solution, okay? Annuities are designed to do what they do. There's accumulation annuities, there's income annuities. Each one has specific bells and whistles, and it's a matter of finding out which one is going to suit your client's needs the best. And that's why I love Quantum, because they will help you figure out what's best, okay? All their tools and resources. So I have our next speaker ready to go, and I think you guys are going to be excited. This next speaker, you're going to look at him, and he's going to look like he's 22 years old. So when I tell you he's actually been in the industry for 11 years, that's going to surprise you. He's got 11 years experience in this industry, and he actually started in this industry when he was 23, and he's been making six figures in this industry since he was 27. All right? So this guy's a young rock star. He walks the walk. He talks the talk. I mean, he's got the knowledge. He's got the looks. He's got the professionalism. He has the heart to help people. I'm watching what this guy's doing because he's a future leader in this company. So with that being said, the training you're about to receive was by popular demand because of something else he did that everybody absolutely loved, but I wanted to expose everybody else to it. So with that being said, it's my pleasure to introduce you guys to Reymund Roxas, okay, an up-and-coming rock star in this company, and he's going to teach you guys some of his tricks in this business that have helped make him successful. Reymund, are you there?
Hello, David. How are
you?
you?
Hey, Reymund.
Can you guys hear me loud and clear? Everything good? I love all the smiles, right? I'm excited, right? All right, let's get this started. I'm going to help you guys set up right appointments the right way, right? In terms of asking people who have 401ks, right? The first thing I'm going to say right now is if you're not talking to a market with people who have 401ks, you're probably in the wrong market, right? When I first started, I was 23 years old and I was like, how do I do this? How do I set up appointments? And I was setting appointments with people 18 to 25 who really had no money, who had no 401ks, right? And so I had to figure out a way to ask the right questions. And want you guys to understand, whoever asks the right questions controls conversation. It's like playing chess where you have to think 10 moves ahead, right? I'm telling this right now, you master these questions, you are going to win, all right? So I'm actually gonna ask people, and I'm not asking for your own personal information, right? I just wanna know if anyone has a 401k, if you're putting money into a 401k, and if they're matching. I'm not asking you, are you putting in 250 bucks a month? Are you putting 500 bucks a month or $1,000 a month? I'm just asking the basic information. So does anyone want to, and if you've seen this training before, I would like you not to actually participate. I would like someone brand new, right? Who has a 401k that's putting money in? Kayla, I see you. Kayla, I'm gonna, okay. Kayla, if you don't mind me asking, do you know if your 401k is matching?
It is.
Okay, what percentage are they matching?
So I'm at 9%.
That's what they're matching, or is that what you're putting?
Well, I'm putting in 4, and I think it's like 6%.
Okay. How long have you been there?
Since 2017. So
2017, about 7 years, right? Do you see yourself there another 5 years?
Well, as of right now, yes.
Okay.
But it just depends on how this goes.
Perfect. Do you know, are you moderate, conservative, aggressive? What kind of rate of return you're getting? Like what you did last year in the last 2-3 years?
So I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So that's why we got to sit down, right?
Yeah.
Just to make sure like your numbers are really set up correctly, right? Because you look like you're in your 30s, right? You have another 30 years for the money to grow, right?
Yeah.
Would you rather have 100,000 or a couple $1 million?
I would love to have a couple $1 million. It'd be nice.
Exactly, right? Because let's just say really quick, let's just say you've been putting in for 7 years, right? That $100,000, oh, not 100, I don't know if you have $100,000, right? But let's just say you have at least $10,000, right? And you don't touch this money and it grows at, let's say 12% for the next 40 years, for the next 480 months, that can grow to 1.2 million. But if it's in 3%, that could be about 34,000.
Wow.
So that's why we got to sit down sometime and really help you out.
That'd be awesome. I would love to. For
Right?
sure. Yeah.
Value immediately. When I was 23 years old, people looked at me, who's this little kid? Right? You got to share value immediately. If you guys can do 10 minutes on social media, inputting, liking people's comments and commenting, you can master the basic inputting of numbers in a financial calculator if you guys want to make thousands of dollars.
That'd
Thank
be
you.
nice.
Appreciate you. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate
So anyone else putting money into a 401k that's matching? Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
How are you?
Good. Do you know what percentage they're matching by any chance?
Yeah, they match 5%.
Do you know what percentage you are contributing?
I was contributing 10%, and then I started learning more about the 401k market and realized that I don't like my money sitting in there, so I knocked it down to 5%.
You must have watched my training or something, or someone else, right? So all right. Now, thank you so much. Now, do you know what kind of rate of return you're getting? How long have you been there?
Right now, I'm getting like a 7 or 8%. Last year was a good year. We had 12%, but I don't see that lasting.
Okay. And how long have you been at your employer?
I've been there for 12 years, but we got bought out about 2 years ago and they set up a new 401k plan for us.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. All right. Thank you so much, Jennifer. All right.
Yep.
Now, does anyone know someone who has a 401k that they're putting, or even if it's yourself, right? If you're putting money into a 401k that is not matching? Anyone? Glory, is that you? You mind if I call you? You look like you're on a boat. Can I ask you to mute yourself? Lori, do you know someone that's putting money in a 401k that's not matching? Give it 5 seconds. I don't know if you can mute yourself, or anyone else. Ashley Triplets, right? Ashley, you mind if I call on you? Are you putting money into a 401k that doesn't match?
Correct.
I'm not going to ask how much you're putting in, right? How long have you been there?
Remember.
No, it's
They
okay.
set the amount.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
They set the amount. It's the educational system. I work for DeKalb County School District.
So is that like a pension plan that they're putting into it?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that's a little bit different. You might have like a 403b, 457, or some sort.
Yes, technically, even though I'm not a teacher, but technically, I don't remember what that is either.
Okay. Are you putting money into your 403b by any chance?
They do. They
Okay.
have it automatically set up. We can't change the amount, so that's one thing I don't like about it, because I knew about this before I got that job. But yeah,
got it. Okay, awesome. So, all right, thank you, Ashley. All right, so the first question you guys want to ask people is: are you putting money into a 401k, and are they matching? And how much are they putting? And what percentage are you putting in? Right? Especially if you're trying to set up an appointment with someone that you just met 5 minutes. In the first 5 to 10 minutes, or at a party or somewhere, you want to make sure you're asking these questions because you want to give value immediately, get their number, and then set up an appointment right after. Does that make sense? So let me go over why though, right? Let's say, because the last time I did this training, I sat down I was with someone, and someone was putting in 10% into the 401k, right? Or like 5%, 6% into a 401k. And let's say they're making $100,000. I'm not assuming what they're making, but let's say they're making $100,000. 6% of 100,000 is $500 a month. $500 a month is $6,000 a year. Every time someone puts money into a 401k, they save money on taxes. So every single year they save $1,800 in taxes. This person that we met, that was on the last training, was about like 25 years old, right? And so for the next 45 years, this person would have saved $81,000 in taxes. Then your money's going to grow $500 a month at 12% for the next 45 years. That should grow to about $10.8 million. I'm not going to get into the percentage wise, right? Now, the most you should ever take out is 5%. David just said about an hour ago, 2.5, right? 3%. Let's just say 5%. Every time someone takes money out of their 401k, they have to pay taxes. And for every single year, they would have paid $160,000. And for the next 30 years, they would have paid $4.9 million in taxes, while they only saved themselves $81,000, right? So this is one of the biggest things that people need to understand. It's okay to put money into the 401k if they're matching, right? But if they're not matching, it's a matter of just repositioning money now. I want you guys to understand this. We're repositioning money. Whenever I hear someone say, I'm putting in 10% and they're only matching 5, automatically that's going to be into that other 5%. We're repositioning it somewhere else. Does that make sense? Give me some emojis or something, right? Reposition of money. Every time I hear it, right? Like last week, we helped a client out and she's like, oh, I could do $300 a month. Oh, do you remember your, so she said I could do $300 a month. And then I was like, oh, you remember your other 3% that you're putting past the match? That 300 became a $400 a month IUL now. This is, I'm telling you, I've been doing this over and over. We master these questions over and over again, right? And it's crazy because I put in right here, right, for the next 30 years. But what if you're only taking out 5%, when you pass away, someone has to mute. Sorry. Thank you, Corey. So over here, anything past the 30 years, when you pass away, someone is going to inherit that and they're going to pay taxes. Julie, are you there by any chance? She's one of my SMBs on my on my team. Julie?
I'm here.
Hi. Julie, talk about your experience, right? In your 401k, right? The money that you got and what's going to happen 30, 40 years from now.
Well, my parents left me their IRA, which, as we know, is similar to a 401k, works the same way. But when they passed away, I don't know if you guys know, there's an RMD, a required minimum distribution. So when they passed away, it was left to me, and I have to take the RMD even though I'm not 73. So so even though I don't need the money, I'm required by the government, because the government let my parents' money grow for X amount of years without having to take taxes or anything, right? So the government is saying, now it's time for you to take the money out to my parents. But since that started, now I have to do it. I don't need to take the money out. If I don't need it, I don't want to take the money out. I'd rather have it grow, right? And I have to pay taxes on it every year. So, and then the government also, if you don't know, if you don't take the IMD, there's a 50% penalty, tax penalty. So I'm really forced to do it.
Thank you. Right. And Julie, her goal is to not take all the money out, right? She has 2 kids. So 50 years from now, 100 years from now, when she does pass, her kids will inherit that, right? And they will continue to pay taxes on it, right? For an example, I'm not trying to get too technical here, but I need you guys to understand the basics of this for now. Let's say Kayla, she had $10,000 in a 401k, right? And that money grew to about, was it 1.2 million, right?
Yeah.
Can grow about 1.2 million. And 1.2 million. And then she took out 5% of that every single year, 60,000. Now, every single year, let's say she pays 30% in taxes, that's $18,000. And for the next 40 years, Kayla would have paid $720,000 in taxes. While she only, Kayla, how much do you think, if you had $10,000 in your 401k, did you save a lot in that 10 grand in that 401k? Probably not, right?
Yeah.
You're not excited about that, right?
Oh, no, not at all.
Right. And it's something to understand, right? That people just don't know, right? Now, 401k, how much do you have in your, how much are you putting in your 401k? How much are they matching? What's your rate of return, right? Now, what if someone is putting money in a 401k and, like for Kayla, right? They're matching 4%, they're putting in 4%, dollar for dollar, which is fine, right? The next question you want to ask yourself is, or whoever that person is, do you see yourself there long term? Why do you think I asked that? Anyone can unmute yourself? Someone who doesn't know the answer or who hasn't participated in the training before.
Most people switch jobs.
Most people switch jobs. Thank you, LJ, right? and
Roll over the money.
roll over the money, right?
Penalty.
Penalty? No, yeah, right. If you take the money out, right? I'm gonna someone mute Lori. Thank you. Someone mute Lori, please. Thank you. And so I met with the nurse, right, last year, and I'm Filipino. I meet with a lot of Filipino nurses, right? And I met with someone, she just started her job. A lot of nurses, they either just started there for 6 months or they've been there for 15 years plus, right? They either love it or they hate it, right? And I asked her, I was like, hey, how much are you putting into your 401k? I'm putting in 6%. I'm super aggressive. And I was like, hey, do you see yourself there for the next at least 5 to 10 years? She's like, I can't even see myself here for the next 5 to 10 days, right? She's like, I just can't do it. But she's putting money into a 401k that's matching. Now, the next question you want to ask someone is, what is your vesting schedule? Because even if they're matching, they're putting 5%, they're matching 5, you put in $5, they put in $5. Have you guys ever had a 401k, or any of you or someone that you know, that when they left their job after 2 to 3, 4 years, they're like, oh, I have $10,000 in there. But when I left, I only got 6. A lot of you guys putting you're like, yep, that was me, or I know someone, right? It sucks. It's because you are supposed to stay there between 5 to 10 years, if not longer. It's called the vesting schedule, guys. And it's something to understand. Let me show you guys exactly what that means. Let me show you this slide right here, right? And I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to send this PowerPoint to all your vesting schedules, golden handcuffs, right? Where over here, where if you put in 6,000, typically, right? Typically vesting schedules between 6 to 10 years, right? I'm being conservative or on this account, or you put in 6,000, they put in 6,000. If you left after the first year, you only get to keep 6,000 of it, your money, not theirs. And the longer you stay there, the more the percentage you get to walk away from. But if you ask someone, do you see yourself there for the next 5 years, 10 years? And they say no, and they're already putting in 5%, 10% into the 401k, 403b, IRA, thrift savings plans, 457s. They're all the same. You're just repositioning money now. Automatic clients. And if you have a life and health license or about to get one, you can help them and make a bunch of money by helping them correctly, obviously, right? So any questions so far? Is this helping?
I have 2 questions if I get asked real quick.
Hi, Michael.
So I've been with my current employer for 15 years, but the company I worked for before my current employer was an ESOP. For those of you, it's a employee stock ownership program. So basically the employees own the companies, and we had a vesting schedule, and I didn't know that. So I was with that employer for only 2 years, throwing a ton of money at it. And when I left, I got a rude awakening with that. With that is my second question, and I feel silly even asking this question. Do most standard companies, whether they do employee match or not, is there a vesting schedule for a standard 401k contribution if there's an employer match?
Typically, yes.
Because if there is, I need to do some more research into my own situation, because I, like most on here, was overfunding beyond my employer match, thinking I was doing the responsible thing, and then my ROI was not what it was. So I didn't turn down the free money, and I lowered it to match the free contribution, dollar per dollar match. And now I'm doing something else, but I need to look into that because I didn't realize that there is a vesting schedule on a standard 401k. So thank you for that information.
Yeah, it's huge, right? And I have been doing this for 11 years. I've only seen out of like 100 companies, 100 people that I've talked to, maybe like less than 5% that you're 100% vested within the first year, which is rare.
Ray, real quick, man, you are ripping it. Holy smokes. I hate that I missed your last one that you did on the Wednesday night. This has got me juiced right now. And what you're saying, this stuff makes so much sense. And just to clarify, so what you're saying is every 401k, every company can design it any way that they want. So some companies vest right away, most do not, and it's 100% that route. And man, if you guys aren't paying attention, repositioning of assets. We don't want you to spend more money. We just want you to take the money you're already spending and put it somewhere that's going to work for you. That's genius. I love this guy. You're awesome, Ray.
Appreciate it.
Hi. Hi, Ray. I'm sorry for interrupting. Can I just say something?
No.
Thank you for being here today. What you just said, I want to jump out of my seat. While we started this call, I put a post out last week about 401ks and leaving it at old jobs. While we started this call, right before you got on, someone reached out to me and said exactly what you said. I'm a nurse, been a nurse for over 23 years. Another nurse messaged me, said she didn't get as much out of her 401k because she did not vest. That's exactly what she said in the voice message she sent me. So we actually have a meeting set up for next week. I'm so excited that you said that because it is true, especially in the nursing industry.
Yeah, it's very frustrating because in any field, right? But like I help a lot of people in the medical field, and it's frustrating because nurses, teachers, anywhere, right? You work so hard for your money, thinking that's all yours, but then if now you're tied to it, like what David said, the golden handcuffs, and it's frustrating. Does that make sense? It's kind of like similar to you have to serve 20 years to get the pension in the military, right? But still, it's still very frustrating.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Yes. Hi. So the question is, you help them reposition money and you open their eyes, and what do you recommend? What do you pivot to? IUL? What do you go with the same money? Look, I'm going to show you how to reposition the same money. Which product do you pivot to?
There's a lot of different options, right? An IUL is definitely one of them, right?
Yeah.
Especially an IUL is one of them. I don't want to get too technical right now, right? So that's like a whole nother training in itself. Trey's laughing, right? Because once we start there, I'm gonna open up a bunch of different questions, and I won't be able to focus on the main training right now, right? But there's IULs. There's it just really depends, right? There's a lot of different accounts, right? I don't want to get on that side, but that's a whole nother hour in itself, and I don't have time for it right now. I apologize, Elizabeth.
Hey,
right?
Ray, thank you for that. What I recommend everybody, you got questions, we appreciate stay on time. Reach out to either your field traders or your whoever is your SMDs and above, or whatever the case may be. And make sure you tune in on Wednesday nights from 8 to 9 and get in these financial classes and learn all this stuff, because we're going to be highlighting and getting into a lot of detail every single week. So appreciate you, Ray.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't want to start that. Once you start it, everyone knows it's over, right? I was like, I'm not going to even start that, right? But you have a lot of different leaders, Elizabeth, that will definitely help you out and lead you the right way, right? Do you have a 401k? Does a 401k match? How much do they match? What percentage are you putting in? What's your rate of return, right? Now, what if they have a 401k? You're putting it, they're matching 6%, they're putting in 6%. Someone said they were working at their company for 12 years, so they're fully vested, right? How do we get them? It's funny because that happened to me like 10 years ago. I was like, hey, do. I was like, bam, bam, bam. And then I got stuck, right? What do I do next, right? How do I get them? How do I set up an appointment, right? Putting money in a 401k, that's matching. They're fully vested. They're aggressive in the right way, right? Because they're young. And I was like, how do I get them, right? Anyone want to take a stab at it on what's the next question that I ask? And we have a list of this. Current ROI. Carolyn, if they have the right rate of return, right? That's you can't argue that, right? I sat down with someone and they had the 12%. Donnie, how much are you willing to lose, right? Which is the next question you want to ask someone, right? How much, and this is something I use a lot, and you guys can use this for anyone that you meet with. Let's say imagine this really quick. If you had $10 million guaranteed, if you had $10 million saved by the time you're in your 60s, how much of this $10 million do you want guaranteed not to lose a single penny? Michael, you're muted, but you're like, all of it, right? I felt it, right? You're like, all of it, right? But at least 20%, if not more, should be guaranteed. Does that make sense? And I'm gonna get a little bit technical here, but I need to, because you guys need to understand the why. So when you guys are more convicted to help people, right? Because our license, if you have a life and health license, whether it's an index universal life or index annuity, right? It's powerful if you really understand how it works, right? So I'm going to show you something really quick. This is kind of what I use, but whether it's an index universal life or index annuity, they in a cash accumulation account, they're very similar, right? Where let's say there's 0% floor and a 15% cap. In 2006, you had $1 million. 2007, the market went up. It went up to 1,059,000. Then 2008 happens, market crashes, right? Went down to 691, right? Now in our account, whether it's an index IRA, index annuity, or index universal life, you don't lose anything, right? You're at 1,059,000. But there's a catch. You're like, how come I don't lose anything? Because the next year, when it went up to 27.2, in your 401k, 403b, thrift savings plans, IRAs, you're still down, right? In our accounts, when it goes up to 27.2, the max you can get is about between 15%, but it's 15% of 1,059,000, which makes it 1.2, right? Everyone knows this, right? Now, something I'm going to share really quick is what happened March 2020. Just everyone, start unmute yourself, please. March 2020. COVID happened. March 2020 happened.
The pandemic.
Pandemic. Lost their job. Did people lose their jobs?
Yes.
March 2020, did people lose a bunch of money in the 401k?
Yes.
Yes.
Stock market crashed.
More like crashed, right? And this is what happened in March 2020. Let me just get a little bit technical right here. But when March 2020 happened, people lost a bunch of money, right? And this is why it's powerful to have these index accounts, because, and it's frustrating, this is what pisses me off, right? Imagine 1,059,000, and then March 2020 happened, your market went down to, your money went down to 691, right? And then you lost your job, right? You're like scared for your life. You're scared for your family. How am I going to support my family? So what did you do after the market went down and you lost your job? And I'm sorry if you did this yourself, but it's what happens, right? This is the reason why you got to help more people. So this doesn't happen for them in the future. Your 1,059,000 went down to 691, and then you took out $100,000 to survive the rest of 2020, right? Then it went down to 591. And then when the market went back up, which it did at the end of 2020, right? Now, instead of 879, you're at 751. When the previous year, you're at 1,059,000. 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 years typically is a negative year. And when that happens, this is why it's important to have the IULs, right? To have the index annuities. At the bare minimum, 20 to 25% of it, if not all of it. Give me some emojis so I know you guys are still alive, right? But this is very powerful just to understand that people need to know. A lot of people, they bought high and they sold low, and this is very important on why we need these accounts. It's very, very powerful. And that's why when I had my clients call me in March 2020, and they have different accounts, they have money in the 401k, I was like, hey, don't worry. If you need money, you have money in your IUL, let the rest of your money ride still. You got time. That's why it's important for advisors, so for people to have people like us, because we take the emotion out. We take the emotion out, where that's what our business is. Because a lot of people who didn't have help from us, one of us, they took money out when the market is down. right? Or let's say they'd even take the money out when the market is down, but they went from aggressive, right? And they're like, oh, I don't want to lose my money. So in April 2020, they went from aggressive to a conservative. Then when the market recovered, they weren't even able to get the money back. I hope this is making sense, right? But this is very powerful. So do you have a 401k? Does your 401k match? Right? How much do they match? How much are you contributing? What are you invested in? What kind of rate of return are you getting? Right? What is your vesting schedule? And at the very end, when the market goes down, where do you take your money out? I have a question for anyone here, right? When you're in your later 60s and 70s and you have money in your 401k, are you still going to be aggressive in those accounts?
No.
Thank you, Jay. Jay's like, heck no, right? Because if your million went down to 650 right before you retire, that would be horrible, right? But if you think about it, but people who have money in a 401k or anything similar to that where it's variable, even if in your 70s, even if you're conservative, you're still conservatively losing, right? Wouldn't you rather be in an account where you're 100% guaranteed not to lose anything, but you're still conservatively winning?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Adira. Right? Any questions so far? Sorry, I kind of went like got fired up. Right? Is this helping?
Yeah, very helpful.
Yeah, very helpful.
Does anyone have any questions about anything so far? All right, I have a list. I'm gonna send the questions to all the SMDs, right? The only way for you to get the questions from and the PowerPoint from them is that you have to reiterate all the questions again. I'm kidding, but it'll be a good training though, right? It's something to really understand. Let me send this to you guys really quick. This is some of the questions.
Hi, Raymond. This is Esmeralda. Thank you for this awesome training. I have a question.
Please.
So I'm currently helping I'm helping a client of mine with a 401k that she's actually out of work now. She went back to school. So I'm helping her, roll that 401k over possibly into an annuity. That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, her husband is kind of like he's in the finance department at his job. It took him 9 years to become my client just for an IUL. But now he's like, and I'm trying to get his attention as to, well, he told his wife, well, you know what, when I left my job, I didn't have to roll over my 401k. And I'm like, well, yeah, you don't have to. And I kind of explained to her why you would want to if you're leaving a job, right? So I started asking her questions about his 401k, and she's like, I really don't know what he's doing with it. So my question is, what would be a great question to maybe, like intrigue him to want to know more about, his 401k and what he can possibly do with it?
Honestly, the
If
first
that makes
thing I
sense.
thought of, the first thing I thought of, and all the leaders would think about this too, recruit her and he'd have to say yes, right? And so, but when it comes down to it though, you just got to give them value, right? So you have to look at the situation and be super technical, right? And by the way, great job, because you said it took 9 years to open up an IUL, right? It might take 9 more years to get the rollover, right? To be for example, but just got to be persistent about it, right? But when it comes down to it, just have them come to all the trainings, and I would try to recruit her, really, right? He sounds super technical, especially if you might be in a finance department. And when it comes to technical people, once you get anyone who's technical here would understand, it takes them forever to make a decision, but once you get them forever. Right? And so what I would recommend is just try to match them up with someone that's super technical, but do understand it takes 2 to 3, if not more appointments. Like it took you 9 years for them to get it, pretty much.
Yeah, she's been what I love is that she's being the example. Like she's my client for all her kids have IUL. She has one.
I think she did Esmeralda freeze?
Yeah, she froze.
Okay.
Hey, Raymond, I do have one question.
Yes.
Unless Esmeralda unfreezes. In your experience doing this and being very proficient at it, I'm really curious now about the vesting side of the question. Would that be any tips on for anybody like us that are on this call or any of the clients we're speaking with on how to find out that information? Is that an employer set standard or is that set by the financial institution?
Every employer is different. It's
you basically would have to go to like your employer's HR to try to find out that information.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. But if you meet with someone who just started a new job and you want to ask them, do you see yourself there for the next 7 to 10 years?
Right.
And if they don't, if there's a chance they're going to walk away from it, have them it's just repositioning money now.
Is there like a standard? Is it like typically most companies like 10 years is kind of the cap? Like if you've been there more than 10 years.
No, there's no cap. I've seen something for like 12 to 14 years.
Wow. Okay. So, all right. Well, thank you for the information.
Yeah, it really depends, right? Because it's their incentive like they're giving you an incentive to match.
It's a non-contract contract.
Yeah, but it's their way for them to keep you.
Yeah.
And kind of trick you. Like, oh, it's mine. And it looks good when you get that 401k statement. Oh, I got 50 grand. But I look at it, really, you only got 25 if you leave now.
So just out of curiosity, sorry, Ray.
No.
So, so my so my husband's actually thinking about taking a different job. So right now they have like annuity that's like pouring in that he doesn't pay towards it, but the union puts into it. But he's actually thinking about taking another job that's still affiliated, but they have a 401k plan. So it would probably be best. Would you say be best just to probably like try to opt out of maybe doing the 401k and then taking that money?
You're never required to put money into a 401k, right?
Okay. Right. Okay.
But if he really doesn't see himself, look at the vesting schedule, right?
Right.
And if it's like 5 years, 7 years, and if there's even a chance like he's not gonna love it there and see himself there, I would not.
Okay.
Because now you're just putting money into an account. It's a glorified IRA that the money you're paying in taxes down the line.
Right. And that's why, and I was actually, now I'm going to be looking in my 401k next week. So trying to figure that out with how much I put in. So I appreciate you.
Yeah. Just reposition the money over and over and over again. Whenever I hear it, whenever you talk to someone and they say, I'm putting 5%, I'm putting 10%, they're matching 5%, you better schedule an appointment immediately.
Yes, for sure. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I will be doing that. Thank you.
Yeah. And for anyone else. Hi, Jules. I don't know if you have your.
Hey, Raymond.
Hi.
So this is definitely going to hurt your ears, so be prepared. You're talking about 401k. I have a close relative who lives in Oregon. He has 5 kids and he's struggling like financially.
Okay.
We need advice because it seems about every single year. So he's been working for Genentech for about close to like 20 years. And so I want to say like almost every 2 years, he's been pulling money out of his 401k.
Okay.
And I'm like, dude, I don't know why you're doing this because you're getting taxed on that money. You're getting penalized on that money. And he was like, I need it. He was like, Jules, he's like, I need it like right now. And I'm like, okay, let's like and I try to tell him like, there's other ways where you can start saving if you need the money now, but you have to create like that financial foundation for your family. And he's just so stubborn about it. So I don't know like how to like help him like in the long run, because he's getting older, like he's getting up into his 50s.
Okay.
But he doesn't have like a sense of like value for his 401k.
So the first thing I would do is, I don't know who your leader is, but I would schedule a 3-way text with your leader and schedule an appointment as soon as possible. You are too close to him that he's not going to listen to you, right? When I got my brother, I matched it up with my leaders. right? And even now, right? I've been in it for 11 years. Whenever I have a friend from college who looks at me as a friend from college, I cannot do it myself, even though I know everything, right? I still match up appointments that I'm too close to them. Does that make sense? And so I would do that immediately. In terms of it's your leader's responsibility just to disturb them enough for him to make the changes that he needs to, pretty much. But at the very end, if he doesn't want to do anything, it's really up to him. But yeah, that's something I would recommend. And if there's any other leaders David or anyone else that wants to contribute to this, but I would say match it up. Don't try to do it yourself, because I tried to do a lot of things by myself for a couple of years. Like I have my cousin, one of my top three, for one of my first 3 appointments. She finally opened up a policy with me 10 years later. But it's also wasn't even me, to be honest, or it's not really you, it's really on them. It's also the timing as well. Like she has 3 kids, 4 kids, or 3 kids now, and she couldn't afford it at the time, or mentally she couldn't do it. But eventually, and I don't know how long you've been in the business, but the longer you stay, the better it is for you. It gets a lot easier.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks.
Of course. Sharon, any questions? And I'm gonna close it out pretty soon.
Yes, I have one. The company that I used to work for when I left, what they did is that they matched 100%, 1%. So they always tell you they'll match you up until 8%, but you had to go in and figure out that it was 50% as you raised, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what they did is they used to match 50% up to 6%, and then they took away the pension for those that started new and then raised it to like 8% or 10%. So my thing is, how do I get them? Like, how do you speak with someone that they're matching 100, but only the first?
So this is what Sharon's saying. Correct me if I'm wrong, but let's say the first $1, you put in $1, they put in $1, right? And the next $4, you have to put in $4 for them to get the next 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? So the first $1 is 100%. Personally, for me, anything past dollar for dollar matching, even if it's a 50% match, people say, oh, it's free money. I personally wouldn't, because of the taxes, personally for me, right? I want you guys to think about this question. Great question, Sharon, because I was going to close it out with one of this, is that anyone on this call, imagine if we open a business together and this business costs $100,000 to open up, right? And America, Ashley, Michael, Carla, Sharon, Kayla, you put in 50,000 and I put in 50,000, right? But in this contract, I said, Ray Rojas, can make it 60% for me and 40% for you at any given point. Sienna, would you sign that contract? Marla's like, nope. Jennifer's like, nope. Yesenia's like, nope. Right? You're like, it's 50-50. It should be 50-50 forever. But anyone who signs up for a 401k, IRA, 403b, TSP, all those accounts, that's essentially what you're doing. Because you know what your tax bracket is now. You have no idea what your tax bracket is 20, 30, 40 years from now. And I don't like that, right? Let's just say, let me go back over here. Instead of 30%, taxes went up to 35%, which is possible. Instead of 4.9, now you're paying another $800,000 in taxes. And you're locked in for it. Kayla's like, oh my gosh. Right? So by the way, I already talked to David. Our goal is to put this Excel sheet into the Vantage website, right? So just give us some time, right? So you can just use it. You can just be on your phone and just input it, right? If you're putting in this percentage, this is how much you can pay in taxes. Our goal is to put it on the website, right? And so everyone can use this on this call. But that's what I would recommend, Sharon. Just give them the value. Be like, look, this is how much tax you're going to be paying in the future, right? Like when I showed you Kayla was going to pay almost $800,000 if she had $10,000 in a 401k, that frustrated her. And that's why you have to understand just the basics. Like I only Like I've been doing this for 11 years, but I just inputted stuff and I just press compute, right? If you guys can like messages, comments on social media, you guys can master the basics of this. I promise you, this will make you a bunch of money. Mastering these questions last month has made me almost $30,000 last month, right? And I'm grateful for it. And it's something to understand. It's doing the same questions over and over and over again. Julie, how many appointments have you set just based on these questions?
Oh, it's really easy. And I think if you were here at the very beginning of Reymund's training, you can see I was thinking to myself how powerful it is if you know these questions right away. He went through the questions and set the value, and you automatically, when you bring that value, someone is going to want to sit down with you because they want to know what other options they might have. So we set up a ton of appointments this way on our team. And you want to, like he also said, you want to talk to people with 401ks. That's the right market to be in. But also because it's the right market for a number of reasons. But one of them is that they've already created the habit of saving. So you're not worried about having to help them figure out how to save. It's already there. They're already doing it. So.
Thank you, Julie. I only have a couple more minutes, but I wanted to close this off by just sharing a couple of stories, right? I want to end off by saying, you guys, no matter what you're going through, you always want to show up through all the adversity, right? August 2023, 2022, my sister passed away. And she passed away around like 12, she was only 45. She passed away around like 1 p.m. And I still decided to show up to my appointment at 5 p.m. And this was in person. It wasn't even a Zoom appointment. It was in person, right? And I found out just recently that my client is fighting cancer right now. Crazy, right? And obviously this was a year and a half ago. I still would have been able to help him, right? And he still would have had the policy. But imagine if I just didn't want to show up just because I didn't feel like it. Does that make sense? And it's something to understand. You got to show up even when you don't feel like it, right? This is another client of mine. Her name is Jen, and I've known her boyfriend Phil for about 15 years. And Jen, January, like this is her son Silas, same age as my son, and they're 5 now. But Jen, January 2021, was pregnant. They were gonna be a family of 4. And February, she got COVID and she passed away. And that was my first 6-figure check that we paid out, right? And it's freaking crazy just how it is and how much has changed. Last May, I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I have a team out there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I went out there and I met with a client of mine, and she opened up a policy in May, right? And in May, and then this is her, right? And in August, she got in a car accident. If you see, her son was in the car accident. She didn't survive the car accident. Her son survived the car accident, thank God. And no amount of money is going to ever replace a mother, but we're able to give them multiple 6 figures. And she only had the policy for 3 months. Right? I just want to share this with you guys. This is very powerful stuff that, like, even though I was going through a lot of my own personal stuff, I still have to show up. Does that make sense? And I know everyone on this call, there's 230 of you guys, everyone is fighting through some kind of adversity, right? But man, you guys got to show up no matter what. And I applaud every single one of you guys on this call because you guys are showing up, right? And I'm grateful. And I know for a fact with our company, with Vantage, I'm excited to meet every single one of you guys in July, right? At the Speedway, and I'm excited. And so I am done. My time is up. David, I'm going to pass it back to you. Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you, Ray. That was some amazing information. I'm watching the chat go, and everybody just going crazy. So many great takeaways from everyone. We're gonna, Ray, if you could do me a favor and post some of those questions that you asked in our Elevation group me, so everybody has access to it.
Most definitely, I will.
And then we have recordings as well. So again, thanks, Ray. That was some really, really great stuff. So who's getting a lot of value today? You guys getting a lot of great value so far? Awesome. Because again,
Absolutely.
our job is to equip you with the tools and the knowledge necessary to win. Okay? So we can provide you with all of that. But there is one thing that usually holds everybody back. No matter how much knowledge you have, okay, how much information you've been given, and it's our mindset. Would you guys agree? Our mindset holds us back. You know, a lot of us have fear because of a lack of knowledge. Okay, we're giving you the knowledge, but we still have to help you overcome that fear and have the confidence to go out there and win. So our next speaker is a little bit off topic. It's not about annuities, but we want to help everyone win in the mindset game. Okay, and I get to introduce you guys to a very close friend of mine right now who's going to introduce somebody that I've become very close to. I've relied on this person to give me a lot of great knowledge and a lot of great mentoring as well. All right, so our next speaker is going to talk about the difference that our feature speaker over the next like 30 minutes or so is going to provide to you and the difference he's made in his life. So you guys all know Andre Pennington. This guy's a rock star, incredible mindset, doing amazing things in this company. He does amazing things in a lot of different places. He probably gets more done in like 3 hours out of the day than most of us do in a week. So I thought it very important that Andre introduce our next speaker. So with that being said, Andre, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Awesome, man. I love the background, you know, but
that's my real background.
I know. Take it away.
Hey guys, I feel like I've been a little bit quiet lately. And it hasn't been on purpose. It's been because I'm working on some big things that I'm looking forward to unveiling for everybody. But I want to say a couple of things. For those of you who don't know me, I trust yourself that you will get to know me, right? For those of you who do, to me, this is like one of the most exciting moments, right? It's when you see, it's kind of like delayed gratification when you, from a long time ago, that hits your present moment, right? And I want to tell you a little bit about that. First of all, for those of you who don't know me, I was listening to Ray and really, really impressed with his knowledge set. And one of the reasons, it's a small reason, I don't know what percent it is, maybe 10%. But I opened up a company-owned IUL years ago. And I set it on autopilot, right? Like, I never even looked at this thing until this year. And I was like, so really happy with it, right? Because one thing is it's a 101J policy. And this is money I was supposed to pay in taxes. But the other reason I was really happy with it is, or wasn't happy with it, was I looked at the amount and I forgot to readjust it to what I wanted to put in. But I was looking at what it did, and it was incredible. So when I hopped in, right when you were like, even if they matched it, I still wouldn't use it, right? And I looked at the amount of that if I get in a jam, that I could just go in and borrow against. And guys, I'm pretty good at this, right? I actually called up the carrier and confirmed everything that I already knew, right? What kind of loan could I take on this? How much would I have to pay back, right? The participating versus the non, all of it. And it's kind of cool hearing you say that, Ray, like, because that's what I did right before I stayed up all night, right? And I knew the time I had to be on, and I wanted to actually stay up through the time because I was busy working. But I needed to take a quick nap. So I get on, I jump on, and that's exactly what you're talking about. So for me, that was like one of those full circle moments, right? I did a 101J before I knew what a 101J is, and time caught up here. I want to transition a little bit. I also heard you say, hey, I made 30 grand knowing this stuff, and I love hearing people win, right? I didn't want my numbers posted up this month, but I think I did 376,000, right? So those of you who don't know me, hopefully that will get your attention a little bit. But I want to tell you about a story of when I feel like I felt like an average, everyday human being. And what I mean by that is my alarm went off at the designated time. I hopped in my car and went to my designated spot. And I worked for the federal government, and I had a designated salary. And I did my job, and the time toned. And I went home, suffered through the evening, and did it again the very next day, right? I'm wondering if any of you can relate to that in any way, right? That feeling of like, I'm an adult. I did all the things I wanted to do. Like, I got an education. I got the good job. And I just went about life doing the same thing every day, not understanding how I ended up where I ended. I had skill sets that I never wanted. I was doing something that I felt was good for the world, literally with the funnel in, right? The daily grind. I saw somebody post that, right? That's the daily grind. And then one day randomly, I caught an errant thought, and it was based off of something bad happening in my life. So something bad happens in my life, bad enough that I'm thinking about taking it, right? I don't want to do this anymore. Now this negative thing has happened, and I'm not so sure that I want to be around tomorrow to see what else is going to happen, because I'm not meeting my purpose, right? I didn't know that then. I did not know that then, right? All those were puzzle pieces for the next moments. But at that moment, I was absolutely not, I was doing the exact opposite. I was leaving a piece of my soul every single day in a place that it didn't belong. And I caught this errant thought in this moment, and this was my solution to my problem. Go get a drink at the bar. And I couldn't tolerate that that was the thought that I had in one of the toughest moments of my life. And I made a decision on that day that I'm going to change. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I don't care what it is, and I'm going to change. And when you make a decision like that, God, life, the universe, whatever you believe in, it wants you to succeed more than you want it. And I became willing, and I started studying. I started reading books on mindset, on growth. One of the most important things I started studying was the law of attraction, right? And that's what you think about and take action on begins to attract itself to you. Now, some of you maybe heard this on a different training, but this year, $1 million in one day is all I think about. Bet it happens. And when it does, that's the one I'll let them post. Now, I want to talk about my journey because yes, Think and Grow Rich. I see that written there. One of the books I read was The Science of Getting Rich, which was written about 50 years before that, or 40 years, right? And along my journey, on one random day, and this is what I want to talk about, and I have 1 minute to do it because I want to bring on our next guest and give him all of the time that's scheduled here. One random day, I go and watch TV, which is not my normal thing to do. And just a moment before, I said, hey, if this thing is real, I want to know in ways that I'll never doubt it again. Instead of asking for something really, really cool in the vehicle, I asked to hear Amazing Grace. And it didn't happen. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. And I put on the Wonder Years on this Netflix show that I never watch. And instead of the main song, It's the episode that plays Amazing Grace first. And I stood back from that TV, did not believe my eyes. And I went in and I got my wife and I said, I took her to the television and I said, what are you hearing right now? And when she told me Amazing Grace, I about fell on the floor. And I went to bed that night thinking, what does this mean? And I went to sleep and I woke up, and guys, this is my absolute true story. I get in the car to go back to the rat race, wondering what I just heard, and it came on again. I got that question from watching The Secret. And James Arthur Ray was one of the speakers in there. And I immediately, because of my initial aversion to what he was saying, because I didn't want to believe it, because growth causes pain. And I didn't feel right about what he was saying, because if what he was saying was true, that meant that I chose this life that I wanted to leave and didn't like. And at that time, I wasn't good at taking personal responsibility. So I got mad at him. He was saying irritating things. And I'm so glad he was, because I will tell you, my mindset is incredible now because I believe it all. And I can say things like, I have to make other people millionaires because that's how I become a billionaire, because I need to become a billionaire so that I can die a millionaire and do a massive amount of good. That's what my real purpose is. And this is a moment for someone here listening. I promise you, if you're feeling it in your soul right now, this is the moment. My good friend, my mentor, James Arthur Ray, is about to jump on, and he is holding an event next weekend that will change somebody's life just like it changed mine. Guys, get ready. James, are you on?
I'm here. Thank you, Andre. Let me say some more aggravating things today because I'm good at that. Listen to me closely. The objective of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. Now, that's the great philosopher king Marcus Aurelius. And let me say to you today, with all conviction, what the world deems sane is most often totally insane. Does that make sense to you? While, on the other hand, true sanity appears to the masses to be insanity. Are you willing to be considered insane to fulfill your God-given potential? No or yes? Show of hands, how many of you are willing to have the masses view you as insane to fulfill your God-given potential in this lifetime? Well, we're going to talk about some things here today, both insane as well as sane. We want to speak with you, Bersaba, my lovely wife, Bersaba, and I want to share with you briefly today a few things that may seem initially insane. But that's only because of what you've been conditioned by the system to believe. Does that make sense to you? Now, let's start off with some insanity. Here's insanity principle number one. The key to success is hard work. That's insane. And you, like me, know that's insane. How many of you, like me, know someone who works really hard? They pull long hours, they have multiple jobs, and they're not even close to being successful, wealthy, and fulfilled. How many of you know someone like that? Raise your hand nice and high. Okay, good. The key to success is not hard work. Here's insane item number two. Money is green slips of paper, and it will make you happy. When was the last time you used green slips of paper? That's not money. That's green slips of paper with pictures of dead presidents on it. And by the way, if you think it's a U.S. note, it's not a note. Look on the top, it says Federal Reserve Note. And I won't spend a lot of time here today. We can do this in another venue. But that is a symbol of debt. It's been borrowed from the Federal Reserve by the government, and it is paid back. The debt is paid back through taxes. Who's paying those taxes? So you are. So every single dollar you have in your pocket or purse is a symbol of the debt that you're in. I'll stop there. It's insane. Here's something sane, and this may not resonate with you in the moment, but I promise you it's true. Just because you understand it doesn't mean it's not, or you don't understand it doesn't mean it's not true. Money is an idea. Money is an idea. More on that in a moment. Insane number 3, success is about your product. Now, show of hands, how many of you believe that Vantage has the best products in the market? Raise your hand nice and high. If you're not raising your hand, you shouldn't even be here. Okay? Because you do. I've looked at your products. I know your services, and they're unparalleled. And yet, if success was about your product, then every single one of you would have made over $300,000 a month, just like Andre did last month. False or true? It's not about your product. Stick with me here. Success, here's another insane principle. Success is about intelligence.
No.
No. There are PhDs running around who can't rub 2 nickels together. All right? If success was about intelligence, then highly intelligent people would be highly successful. And there's a lot of intelligent people who are quite stupid, quite frankly, in the way they operate in the world and the things they buy into. Here's another one. Success is about skill. Well, I just need more skills. You know, I know you've been getting great skills here. And yet, if it was about skills, then every single person who had the skills would be successful, and they're not. Let me ask you this question. How many of you, like me, know someone and you know you're smarter than they are? And you know you're more skilled than they are, and they make more money than you? Show of hands. How many of you live with that person?
Oh,
Never
no,
mind.
put it
Okay.
down, put it
Yeah,
down.
no, we won't do that. So if success was about skill, then all the highly skilled people would be highly successful. These are all insane principles that you've been indoctrinated with. It's time to join the true field of sanity, which is going to appear insane maybe to you at first blush, but stick with me. Let's talk about sanity. Success and wealth are a mindset. And you heard my friend David, my friend Andre say that. I'm not suggesting to you that hard work and products and intelligent action and skills are not present. Of course they are. But that's not the key to success, wealth, and fulfillment. Does that make sense to you? You know, I was a national sales trainer for AT&T for a number of years, and I could give you today the latest and greatest sales skills: opening, closing, building rapport, overcoming objections, you know, all these kinds of forced choice closing questions, all these kinds of things. And yet, you know what I found out very quickly? I would pour my heart out for 2 to 3 days, and the vast majority of people would leave the room and do the same thing they'd always done before they came into the room. You know why? Because they say things like, oh, well, it's easy for Andre because he's Andre. You know, I'm not Andre. You know, it's easy for David. I mean, look at David. He's David. I'm not them. It's a mindset. That hard work, product, intelligent action are present, and skills, but that's not the answer. If you're with me, say yes. Okay, excellent.
Yes.
There's one person who takes themselves off mute. I appreciate that. Here's what Bersaba and I know about you. Pay attention. When you find your purpose, when you really find your purpose, Andre talked about his purpose. When you really find your purpose, hard work becomes hardly work. It's not really work anymore. Yes, it's work, but it doesn't feel like work. You see, a purpose is always more compelling than a goal. A purpose will get you out of bed in the morning on a mission. You're ready to go to war, and not with guns and knives. It's bigger than that. You've got a battle to fight. And what you're fighting, quite frankly, is for the minds and hearts of individuals who are lost, who have been indoctrinated in things that are just insane. And they believe they're true because, you know, here's the unfortunate truth in today's world. You repeat a lie enough times and people start to think it's true. Look around. Do you notice this? You repeat a lie enough times and people start to believe it's true. Here's what else we know about you. When you're happy and fulfilled in what you're doing, you have more ideas and you're more successful and, in addition, more fulfilled. Does that make sense to you? When you're happy and fulfilled in what you're doing, then you get more ideas, you're more creative, more innovative, and you're more successful, more fulfilled. Now, let's talk about Vantage specifically. When you have a great product, here's what else we know about you. When you have a great product, it makes life easier. It really does. Because the product is providing value to the world. And anything that provides value to the world is in alignment with God's purpose for you and for the world itself. Does that make sense to you? Your job is to provide value. Service is the rent we pay for the privilege of life. Here's what else we know about you. Emotional intelligence is more important than intellectual intelligence. You know, a lot of people want to parade their degrees and parade their accomplishments. And we live in a world that is obsessive about IQ. But mounds of research prove that EQ, also known as emotional intelligence, is far and away more predictive of life and business success than IQ ever has been or ever will be. Does that make sense to you? Because when you have emotional intelligence, you can connect with other people. You can have compassion. You can have empathy. You can have rapport. You can put yourself in their perspective versus your own. And unfortunately, you look at the research in today's world, guys, emotional intelligence is severely lacking. You know, jump on social media for a nanosecond. 99 times out of 100, it's all about me. Let me show you my vacation. Let me show you my car. Let me show you my happy family. But I'm not going to show you when my family is screaming at each other, you know, oh no. But let me show you this, that, and the other. It goes back to the cause of wealth, success, and fulfillment. It's your mindset. And so, you know, Berspa and I are really blessed to count Andre and David in the circle of our friends. And we've known Andre for a long time. And we've gotten to know David more closely in just more recent months. But we're very blessed. And so are you, by the way. And I'm sure you know that. And so David and Andre reached out and said, hey, guys, why don't you come visit us on Saturday? And Andre already mentioned this. We have an event coming up a week from today. It runs from 9 to 5 Pacific Standard Time on Zoom. And it's called Harmonic Wealth Weekend. Now let's talk about quickly what mindset is. Mindset is comprehensive wealth, financial, relational, mental, physical, and spiritual. And when all those are in harmony, then you're truly wealthy. I've met a lot of people who have a tremendous amount of money, but they're not wealthy. Because quite frankly, the only people who worry more about money than the poor are the rich. And you say, well, How is that, James? Because the more you have, the more you have to lose. Does that make sense to you? There are so many people who have a lot of money and their lifestyle raises to meet that money or maybe exceeds. And now they're constantly worried that they're going to be able to continue to generate to sustain their high level of living. That's not wealth. You know, most people would define wealth as money. But if you trace the etymology of the word wealth back to its origins, it literally translates as well-being. It's not money. So let me ask you this question. Can you have a tremendous amount of money and not be wealthy? No or yes? Yes, you can. And this goes back to the insanity principle that money will make you happy. It won't. Happiness is an inside game. And if you're miserable without it, you're going to be multiplied miserable with it.
Yeah.
And so when we get our foundation correct of true harmonic wealth, harmony and well-being in the 5 key areas, Bearsman and I call those the 5 pillars: financial, relational, mental, physical, spiritual, then you're truly wealthy. And I can share with you, and maybe if some of you heard me speak with your group in Atlanta, I don't know. How many of you were in Atlanta? Anyone?
Yeah, I see.
Oh,
I
several.
see, yeah.
Of course you
I
were.
recognize some
I
of 'em.
recognize David and Andre. So, yeah, so you heard me address that a little bit. And so I talked about Harmonic Wealth Weekend from stage in Atlanta. And so we circled back afterwards with Andre and we said, you know what? We really want to do something special for Vantage. We love what you're doing. We love the vibe, if you will, if I can use that new agey term, that the vibration that we're feeling, the heartfeltness and the genuineness from the people. And so let's do something really special. Normally the Harmonic Wealth Weekend, April 13th and 14th, coming up a week from today, 9 to 5 PST on Zoom. You can do it from your home or office without leaving the comfort of your home. Is $697, and it's well underpriced for what you receive. You know, Forbes magazine tells us that every single dollar you invest in your own development returns to you a minimum of 6 to 1. So that's a pretty good ROI. But nonetheless, we decided to do something really, really special. We've never done this before, and we might not do it again. But here's what we're going to do for you. Instead of $697, we decided as a member of Vantage, you can come for $47. How you like those apples? $47. And here's what you're going to learn in that 2-day deep dive. You're going to learn just a few things. You're going to learn the secrets of creating true and comprehensive wealth and harmony in all areas of your life. Because when your life is in harmony and you're truly wealthy, then you have what it takes to continue. I heard the young man speaking before, Andre, briefly, and he said a lot of us are facing challenges. How many of you are facing some challenges in your life right now? Just be honest. Okay. Yeah, we all are. Even us individuals who teach things. It's a challenging time. It's a disruptive time in our world. And so consequently, if you're not grounded financially, mentally, physically, spiritually, and in your relationships, then you don't have a great foundation, and the turbulence will knock you off course. Does that make sense to you? You're going to learn how to create that true and comprehensive wealth. You're going to learn about the 5 parts of your mind. The greatest gift you've been given by your Creator is your marvelous mind. How are you using it? Because most people are not doing a great job there. Psychology tells us that you have what's called a negativity bias. We all do. We tend to focus on the negative. Psychology also tells us that 70% of what you've been programmed with in your formative years is disempowering. 70%. And so you're going to learn about the 5 parts of your mind. And this will blow your mind. And when you grasp it, you're going to learn how to utilize each of these parts to create absolutely what you desire and deserve, your God-given potential. You're going to break through barriers and blocks that unconsciously hold you back, steal your dreams, your happiness, and your fulfillment. You will literally break through barriers in the Harmonic Wealth Weekend next weekend. It's very interactive. It's not just me talking. We put you into breakout rooms. There's exercises. There's a full workbook. There's live Q&As and a whole lot more. And let me just say this to you. This is, hopefully you get a flavor of this right now. This is not a hyped up firewalk motivational event that very soon wears off. It's not what it is. This is hard hitting, application oriented strategies, principles, and skills to create what you desire and deserve. Now, are you willing to invest $47 and 2 days of your life that will change your life forever? Well, if you are, then someone's going to share a link because we have a special page where
it is virtual.
It's already, yes, it is
on
virtual.
Zoom.
It's on Zoom. It's on Zoom from 9 to 5 PST. And someone's going to share a link. I think David is. Yeah. Just click the link and reserve your seat. We already have, I believe, over 20 people from Vantage coming, and we'd love to pack the house with Vantage people because you guys have a world to change. You guys have a world to impact, and you guys have a big year ahead of you, maybe the biggest year of your entire business history, not to mention your personal life. So we'll look forward to supporting you and guiding you and having a lot of fun with you, but most importantly, helping you remember who you are and to join the ranks of the insane. So if you'd love to do that and you're ready to do that, just click the link, grab your seat, and we'll see you next weekend at 9 a.m. PST. God bless. Lots of love.
Thank you. Thank you, David.
Thanks, David. Thanks,
Andre.
Thank you guys so much. And I appreciate you guys and everything you do. I know we've had some incredible conversations, and in just the short time we've known each other, you've made a significant impact for me. So we appreciate you guys. We appreciate this offer. I want to encourage everybody to take advantage of this because how many of you guys, Vantage being such a new company, and I want to make an announcement because Andre just shared some information with me. During this training today, we have brought on 1,000 new people just since November. We hit that benchmark today. So everybody give yourself a huge round of applause. You guys are doing some fantastic things. We are growing an amazing company. And, some of us have been in this industry for a while, right, Trey? We're like the OGs of the industry. But how many of you guys feel like we have something very different with Vantage? We are way different than everybody else in the industry. And the difference, the separator from us is, I'm going to tell you one thing for sure. We heard from Quantum this morning. Quantum is the real deal. And we have Quantum because of our reputation in Vantage. Okay? A lot of people can go out and sell insurance and financial products, but it takes a special company to do it with the integrity that we have. So we're going to do this business right. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, the upper leadership we have here, they care about us as individuals. Most places you'll feel like a number. Here you can have real conversations with people that know you and care about you. And we're trying to create something very different in the industry. Well, what's going to separate us? Because a lot of companies have good products, like James, Arthur, and Versava said, right? A lot of companies have good products. And we have phenomenal products. But the difference here is you, okay, the field force, and our leadership. And we want to create something different. We want to create a shift in mindset. Okay, we want to help everybody think differently. Because until you change your mindset, your situation will remain the same. Would you guys agree with that? Until we change our mindset and the way we think, we will always be stuck in the same problems. So we're committed to helping you grow in your mindset and the way you think. We want to change your internal thermostat so that you know what success you really deserve. No more limiting beliefs. We are a force for good. In order for us to do what we need to do, we have to raise our mindset and our belief level. And this event next Saturday is going to help you shift your mindset. So I want to highly encourage everybody, to make that shift and go to the top of this industry with us in Vantage. So if you guys are in, man, drop a 1 in the chat. Say, I'm in. Let me know you're in. Okay? So what we're going to do right now is I want to give everybody a quick break. We're going to break for about 10 minutes. If you guys want to go to the bathroom, grab some food, come back. We're going to kind of work through the break, but go grab something so you can keep going. And then we're going to come back like right after 1 o'clock. I have a quick video I want you guys to see. So Maria, if we could play the 7-minute version, that would be awesome. And then we'll come right back. So again, thank you guys so much for coming on and doing that for us. And we appreciate the event you're putting on.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys. And
Yeah,
that's why
thank you.
we want to do whatever we can to support you.
And I want to encourage everybody to get to know you guys better.
Thanks, David.
We'll look
Thanks,
forward to
Audrey.
that. God bless. Thanks.
Thank you. So we're going to play a quick video, take a 10-minute break, and then we're going to bring on our next speaker. And man, it's just going to get better and better. So don't leave, because I got a big announcement at the end. Big announcement. You got to be here to participate in this announcement. So at the very end of the training today, big announcement. I'm going to give you the homework, and we're going to close this thing out strong. All right? Okay, so be right back. Watch the video.
You may know Tony Robbins as the life coach and motivator extraordinaire, but in the last few years, he's been making inroads into personal finance. In today's video, I'll share clips of what he really thinks about annuities. So we start at the beginning of the video where he shares with us what he believes to be the most important goal of retirement planning. Let's take a listen.
What's the next step? Next step is you've got to create an income for life. And then when I say income for life, it's so interesting because I ask people all the time, why do you invest? What are you investing for? What would your response be? So I'll have money when I'm old. Right?
Yeah.
So some people say, so I'll have money when old. Some people say, so I can grow my assets. Some people say, so they tell me all kinds of things. There's only one reason to invest: income.
Mm-hmm.
You can have all these companies, but eventually you have to convert that to income to be able to live a great life.
Mm-hmm.
The final purpose of all investing is income. And most of us don't know that anymore because all of the marketing machines, large banks, if you are taking income, it's no longer in their account.
So it's bad.
So it takes it away from them.
Okay, so here Tony Robbins correctly identifies the most important objective in retirement planning: creating an income you can't outlive. Your goal shouldn't be to spend your entire working years creating a massive pile of money and then just coast into retirement. Once you hit retirement, the rules of the game change. You must now find a way to convert that massive pile of money into a sustainable stream of income you can't outlive. And he rightly points out that this is one of the reasons why large investment companies don't like to think of investing in terms of lifetime income. They make money off of investments under management. And when you begin taking in income, you are systematically spending those assets down, which systematically reduces their income. So right out of the chute, we understand that income is the end game, much to the chagrin of major money management institutions. Okay, let's keep going.
The number one fear amongst baby boomers is not death. Death is a far number two, way down the list, number two percentage-wise. Number one is running out of money before they die, having a life where they don't have income. And it's going to happen, according to all the statistics, to about 75% of the population, right? It's mind-boggling. So what do I do without any income? That's why you see people now in their 70s as greeters at Walmart. You know, it's just they got to figure out what to do because they never figured this stuff out in the beginning.
He's right. Survey after survey shows that the number one fear people have in retirement is running out of money before they run out of life. It's dying broke. The technical term for this is longevity risk, outliving your money. And the reason this is such an insidious risk is because it magnifies a subset of retirement risks that can cause you to run out of money much faster than you ever thought possible. What are we talking about here? We're talking inflation risk, withdrawal rate risk, sequence of return risk, and long-term care risk. The truth is, the longer you live, the more likely your retirement savings will succumb to one of these risks. So if you can solve longevity risk, you can simultaneously solve a whole slew of sub-risks that can likewise foil your retirement plan. So what does Tony Robbins think is the solution to longevity risk? Well, here's where we come to the verboten term, annuity. But according to Tony Robbins, not just any annuity will do. Let's keep listening.
I'll give you a perfect example. A variable annuity, very popular annuity, is filled with fees. It's fees on top of fees. It's fees to be inside of the annuity, and then there's fees for a mutual fund on top of it. It's a disaster.
Okay, so he warns against variable annuities because they have high fees. Now, the one thing you have to remember, and Tom Hegna reminds us of this all the time, you are getting something in exchange for those fees. What you're getting are guarantees. This said, I'm with Tony Robbins on this one. I think there's a better solution. Let's see what he says.
But there are types of annuities, like done properly, like these hybrid annuities, they call them, where it's tied to an index, meaning a stock market index. So here's how it works. You get the upside without the downside. If the stock market goes up, you get a percentage of that growth. If it goes down, you lose nothing. So like you think about my friend who's been out of the stock market for 6 years and he's got nothing to show for it. I said to him, this would have been one of many different vehicles you could have easily done. When I started seeing how these work, there's one annuity I saw, and I'm getting old enough that I'm within the range of doing these things now, which scares me. But one of them gives a guaranteed return of 7% a year. And where are you going to find that? And
My immediate reaction is
my immediate reaction, that's
fearful.
impossible.
It's like,
I know. It's a company that's, A-rated, it's been around forever. But here's how they do it. You pay into the company, in this particular one, your rate grows at 7% a year, and then you have this lump sum. You don't take out the lump sum. That's how you get the 7% per year. What you do is you take out 5% of it a year. And so they show you what that means to an income. Because what you really want is income. If you're in the stock market and it drops 50%, your income is just cut in half, and then to grow it back can take decades. So there's some that are tied to the stock market, and if it loses money, you lose nothing, and there are no fees if it doesn't make money.
That's a much more attractive proposition.
It's mind-boggling. And then they have a second piece which says, if you leave your money with us and you don't take it out, if you leave it with us, then you can convert that to income in the future. And we can show you how much that would be worth in the future at different stages. So you're able to have something to plan with.
So what Tony Robbins is describing here is what's called a fixed index annuity. You give a chunk of your liquid retirement savings to an insurance company, and they link the growth of that money to the upward movement of a stock market index. Whatever the index does, you get to keep up to a cap. And should the market ever go down, they simply credit you a zero. And one of the most compelling features of a fixed index annuity is the ability to elect a guaranteed lifetime income that's guaranteed to last so long as you're on this side of the grass. So here's how you might utilize a fixed index annuity in retirement. First, figure out your lifestyle needs. Then subtract from that amount whatever guaranteed income you're anticipating receiving. For most people, that's Social Security and possibly a pension. The difference between those two numbers is your retirement shortfall, and that's the gap the fixed index annuity is designed to bridge. Now, the only thing I would add that Tony Robbins didn't mention is that you should be looking for an annuity with a piecemeal internal Roth conversion feature. This allows you to convert your fixed index annuity to a Roth IRA so you can protect that guaranteed lifetime income from the impact of rising taxes in the future. In summary, Tony Robbins reminds us that during the accumulation phase, it's all about assets. How big a pile of money can you grow during your working years? But once you hit retirement, the rules of the game change. Now it's all about income. How much inflation-adjusted guaranteed lifetime income can you generate based on the assets you've accumulated? And he says there's a right way and a wrong way of going about guaranteeing that stream of income. He avoids variable annuities because of the fees. I think this is prudent. He does prefer the fixed index annuity because of its safe and productive growth, along with the guaranteed lifetime income option. And if you can make sure that fixed index annuity includes a piecemeal internal Roth conversion feature, then you can shield yourself from higher taxes along the way. Folks, in the next 10 years, I'm looking to put 100,000 Americans on the road to the zero.
All right. So how many of y'all love that video? Good stuff, right? So I'm going to drop that in the group me for you guys. And then you guys will have access to it. All right. So good stuff. I'm about to bring on our next speaker. And this gentleman is doing some phenomenal things. He came over to us. He actually comes to us via Canada. All right. So Canada to California, He now resides in the state of Texas. He has an amazing family. If you've watched him on camera here, you see there's actually somebody much better looking than him that's usually sitting in front of the camera, and that's on purpose. It's on purpose. But now he's on camera. He's ready to speak to us and provide some value. He's going to give you more of like the details of an annuity, okay? And then we're going to close out strong after him with our closing speaker and your homework assignments and some challenges. All right? So everybody hang in tough, stay strong. We're almost there. We're coming to the finish line. So be ready. So, hey, Rick, you there? Can you hear me?
I am here.
Are you ready?
And you're mentioning this lady, right? This young lady next to me?
Yeah, the better looking one than you.
Yep, that's okay. I will mute. I'll blur myself like this, and then I'll talk the rest. Anyway.
So yeah, Rick, we appreciate you having her sit on camera, for most of this.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Can I make co-host so I can share?
Yeah, you should be able to share screen.
Cool. Let's see. All right. I think you're still pinned. So let's see. Here we go.
There you are.
Awesome. So I'll be moving in and out. Glad to be here with all of you. I'm going to speak for the next 45 minutes. I'll be as technical as possible. This is what Jason Beauvais said about me yesterday. I have to live up to that reputation. So, if you're bored out of your mind, just excuse me for that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to make it as interactive as possible as well. If we have 207 of you, take out your phone. I know that all of you are actually playing with your phone on the side. Anyway, take out your phone if you can. Do this QR code. You want to do this QR code? Do this QR code, and then I will start a survey right away. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so make sure my wife is taking care of the kid. So hold on 1 second. Here we go. Okay, do a QR code, please, and then I will start a survey. Go 7, 12. Come on, there are 200 of you. 34, 37. Awesome. Keep going. I won't stop until we hit 100. Let's put it that way. 63, 64. Come on. 71. Cool. Wow. Awesome. Wow. This is great number. 82. All right. Have you ever, first question in a survey, have you ever submitted a FIA policy? 86 of you. Come on. Right. 91. 92. Go. Cool. 95. Let's get 5 more. Here we go. All right. We got there. So 101. Everyone can still see my screen, right? You see the survey? 102 of you. 103 is still counting. Awesome. So about 40% in this group has submitted a FIA policy. This is actually my team average too. And this already is beating a old average that we used to have in a prior company, if you guys know what I'm talking about. But anyway, this is awesome. This is really, really cool that majority of us actually has done an FIA. So hold on. So let's go really quick. 40% of you already did it before. So then I'm just going to be really, I can go really quick with some of the concepts, right? So what is the FIA, right? Really is fixed index annuity. That's what it stands for. And this type of annuity that can help you accumulate wealth, the client accumulate wealth, or distribute, or do both. So the building part and then the distribution part. So far, so good. I mean, I need to, hold on. There's nobody on camera. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. All right. Some of the people, I just want to see some faces so I can, okay. Yep. I see Jennifer. I see Lorianne. I see both Loriannes. All right, cool. All right. So everyone has been to a business opportunity presentation, of course, have seen this, the tax now, tax defer, tax advantage, of course, 3 ways to grow your money, fixed, variable, index, right? I'm not going to do a whole presentation of this because you have all seen this. You guys are in here. You guys are in elevation class. You have seen the BOP, definitely have seen that. Just for your back pocket though, just in case you're doing this simple ABC 1, 2, 3, you want to say, in the tax now, their taxing account, checking account, saving account, stock, mutual fund, tax later, 401k, 403b, IRA, tax advantage is Roth accounts, cash value, life insurance, right? And it's a fixed variable index, okay? So the reason why I'm still spending a little bit of time talking about this is because I want to make sure that ABC 1, 2, 3, we know what these combinations are, okay? Cash value life insurance. Ray talked about that. It was a great presentation, by the way, Ray. You did awesome as always, right? And a cash value life insurance is a C bucket type of product. It's a tax advantage bucket. However, an IUL makes it a C3 program. So then when I talk to my team, I always talk about this thing. What is ABC 1, 2, 3? What is the combination, right? So a traditional 401k, traditional IRA, this is as technical as I'm going to get, but hear me out, right? Traditional 401k, traditional IRA, this is the exact same thing that Ray just mentioned about like the money that, like the 60-40%, or any time that I can kill you with your taxes, all that kind of stuff. It's the traditional part. It's the B bucket type of program. Am I right? Yep. And then if the money in the 401k is in money markets, CDs, whatever, it's a B1. If your money inside is in stocks, mutual fund, it's B2. If your money inside is in an FIA, like what we're going to talk about, it's a B3 program. That's all it is. Strengthening more on that knowledge. I know I'm like, when we talk about rollovers, in the chat, like last 2 hours, most people talk about rollovers, annuities, how we do it, rollover, right? Rollover is basically trying to move money from B1 or B2 to B3. B2 to B3 or C2 to C3. Okay, we are just moving the possibility that you can lose value to an index account with guarantees. And I'm going to show you some verbiage that I'm going to use. Okay. Definitely don't do a rollover. Don't think of anything. Rollover as a B2 to a C3. Just don't. B to B or C to C. If you do B to C, it's a huge deal for your client. And actually, I do have someone who is very seasoned in my team, has been in the industry for over 10 years, 9-10 years. And she mentioned to me the other day, it's like, oh, I never really wanted to do rollovers because it's dealing with large sum of money of my clients, and I'm scared. And I mean, by the moment you know what you're talking about, then you don't need to be scared. Am I right? That's why we're here. That's why we're spending Saturday morning 5 hours to talk about this. Cool? All right. I was told I need to slow down. So I was. All right. Why is annuity such an important concept, an important tool? Because accumulation. We are leaving the jobs with large amounts, 401k, 403b, 457. By the way, 401k, just put it in your notes. 401k is for profit company, employees working for profit company. 403b is for employees working in non-profit companies. And 457B is for government employees. But basically the same thing. B programs, but for different types. So people say, oh, I don't have a 401k, but I have a 457. Like, what is a 457? So now you have that. Of course, there are other names like TFP. Different state have different ways of calling their programs and all that stuff as well. Okay, so these balance cannot be taken out, feed into IUL. That's just basically repeating what I was saying earlier last slide. All right, distribution though. Why is annuity such an important tool for distribution? Okay. Why is it so important for distribution? It's because imagine a client with 200,000 in saving, that's really, really low amount, of course. And if this client used 10,000 a year, how long will that money last? Jennifer, oh,
20 years.
Responding to 20 years, right? Only 20 years. But imagine the same client. We set up an annuity, immediate annuity, $200,000. This client still get $10,000 per year, but until what time?
Until death.
Until death. This is what we call lifetime income. So you guys already know, basically, the basic concept. This is cool. But what if the client passes before year 20? Oh, I lose everything. No. Provision for death benefit in most annuities that we have. Cool. So far, so good. And why is annuity such an important tool? Actually, this article, April 1st, it's not April Fool's joke, but this actually came from our friends from Quantum. They actually reposted this as a useful marketing tools, right? And they say the article basically talks about how annuities just belongs to retirement income portfolio because it bridges income gap, especially now. Social Security benefit or lack thereof, right? Do we agree? I have more technical stuff on the Social Security benefit stuff, but I mean, they've already slapped my hand and told me not to say anything. But of course, we do the second part of this or the third part of this, we'll talk about that more. Okay, it's a deal. But annuity can be set up for guaranteed lifetime income. And even if it is your own individual IRA, when the time comes and you need to take the money, it can be guaranteed lifetime income for both spouses as a joint survivor annuitants. You only need to declare that when you start distributing. Is that cool? You don't need to worry if I go first, money left for her. If she goes first, I have nothing, all that kind of stuff. It can set it up that the payment will be lifetime income full as long as both of you are alive. And if both pass prematurely, then there is still a big chunk death benefit left over. Okay. Survey question number 2. Let me stop sharing so then I can open up the. Okay, take out your phone again. The question is, when do people say, when you say, what are you doing with your old 401k? All right, I'm still going to go until there's 100 responses. How's that?
Rick, I can't see the survey poll.
No QR.
Oh, you need the QR code again? Okay. Hold on. Let me.
If you go right back into the same webpage, it automatically reload with a new question.
Thank you, Michael. But I'm sharing my screen. "32 of you say 35, 38. Fairly typical answers so far. And those of you who answer other, I'm going to pick on you and say what other means.
It looks like do I ask the question? I don't see where I put the answer.
Yeah, so you ask a client question or prospect. You ask that question.
Okay, gotcha.
What are you
Ask
doing
the
with your
question.
401k? What do you think they tell you usually?
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I think what Dexter is asking, if at the top Dexter, there's two tabs. One says Q&A and one says polls.
Correct.
Oh, polls, polls. Yes, yes, polls. Sorry. Yes, polls on the top of your phone and your app. Just a poll. Yeah. Sorry. Cool. Let me share my screen.
Rick, one other thing is that they can scroll up on that and edit their response if they want to. So if they're not seeing that, so maybe they're hitting other, meaning they'd rather change it.
I see.
So,
No,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not picking on people, but since you guys are coming off mute, I'm going to ask you guys questions. But anyway, just to increase interaction, right? But anyway, majority of people say, I just leave it there. Half the people would say that. Half, not you, but you think your people, the prospect you talk about. And then 40%. So basically 47, 40%, that's about 90%, right? Is that right? Yeah, about close to 90%, 80%. 90%, close to 90% of people would say, I don't know, I just leave it there. Basically, they have no clue. No,
It's easy.
That's like 80. That's 80%, 40 count. Is that right? I plan to bring it to a new job. That's also a typical answer, right? But majority of the people, 80% of people. That's crazy, isn't it? So I'm going to show you, if I can show you some of the things that we can say to tackle these answers. Is that going to be helpful?
Yes,
yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. So when people ask me, we even like, I train some of my the moms, hardworking moms in the team go to the park, they say, what do you do? I say, I'm not saying I'm almost never going to say I'm an insurance agent. No, I almost always I say I help people plan for their retirement. That's why I like to say, you say whatever you want. Your team tells you what you want to identify yourself as, doesn't matter, right? But if they say, oh, I changed my job recently, all that kind of stuff, what do you plan to do with that leftover 401k? Most people say, we just did the survey, we say, I don't know, right? 40% chance, people say, I don't know. And then 20% chance, right? I plan to bring it with me to my new job. I just leave it, or I would just leave it there. Oh, James, I know why there's like over 90%. Because I allow people to do multiple. People can do multiple answers. That's why it can be over. But anyway, majority of people would just give you these three answers, right? We just basically did a survey to confirm that, right? So what I say is, if they say, I don't know, or I just leave it there, then I would say, generally, there are three things you can do with an old 401k. Or you can say generally there are three things you can do with a leftover 401k. Generally, there are three things you can do with an idle 401k, right? Same thing. You can leave it there. You can roll over to an IRA, or you can roll over to an annuity. I always do this 1, 2, 3 thing, okay? And the most important statement, I would say, and I'm listing these from worst to best. So it's basically indirectly telling them that by leaving there and don't know what you're doing with it is actually the worst choice you're making. But I'm not saying directly and saying you are making a really bad choice. I'm just saying that you can leave it there, you can roll it to an IRA, or you can roll over to an annuity. But I'm saying this in a increasing, in a as better as we go, or increasing order, going from worst to best, whichever we say. Immediately people say, why? Why? This is why. Take a screenshot of this if you can, if you're going to not copy this, all that kind of stuff. Basically, Tony Robbins basically just talked about all I need to talk about here. Admin fee. 401k traditionally is one of the most expensive program to maintain. Admin fee, it will kill you. One of the 13 reasons why you need to do a rover and all that stuff. I think Dave Henning, if you guys are lucky, Dave Henning will talk about that in the end. And 15 reasons why you need to do a FIA, right? Admin fee will kill you. Well, not you, but I mean, you know what I'm talking about. And if you select mutual funds, then mostly there's management fee. And what happens? There's no guarantee. Ray just talked about that. What if the market goes down 4 years ago, exactly 4 years ago? Well, actually 4 years and 1 month ago, March of 2020, pandemic, bam, market lost 35%. There's no guarantee. That's true. IRA is slightly better than 401k because mostly there's no admin fee, depending on what program you have and all that stuff. But management fee, absolutely. That's how they make money off of you. Same thing, no guarantees. But with annuities, admin fee, no. Management fee, mostly no. Guarantee, yes. Depending on the product we select at that point. Okay. Okay, one more survey question. So do we need the, let me stop this and then start a new one. So the survey question says, hold on. It's not very good with this. Here we go. Survey question 3. If you start out with $25,000 in a tax-deferred retirement plan, whichever one it is, how much will 1% in fees hurt you over 35 years? And let me make sure that nope. Just take a wild guess. Don't pull out your financial calculator. Nothing. Don't do that. Just guess. 1% in fees. How much is that going to hurt you?
$8,000.
Are you in the survey?
Oh, no.
61%, 65%. Cynthia, I'm going to, if you can hold your question, can you let me answer your question in the end. Just want to make sure that 71, 72, let's go. Bada bing, bada boom. 76, 78. Wow, this group is actually very well. I mean, of course, only the elites come here, right? I mean, we are the good ones in Vantage, but like we know what we're talking about. This is cool. This is really, really cool. All right, 83, come on. We just need 17 more of you. We have 200 people here. Let's go. That's just actually, my way to take a break, to make sure that I pace myself. I don't speak. Come on, 15 more. Do we need the QR code? Anyone? Need any help? 86. All right. QR code. Oh, sorry. All right. It is it's about, this is my last survey question. So 89. Let's go, guys. Come on. Cool. 90. 10 more. Let's go. We have 200. Let's go. Cool. This is fun. This is like the way to basically playing video games on your phone and all this stuff. This is really cool, right? Go, people. 92. One more. Hi, Kayla. $95. Let's go. Come on, guys. 96. This is kind of like when Jason is texting all of us. It's like, we are 1,000. We're almost 1,000. Let's go. We have 1,000. This is cool. All right, I'm going to share my screen because I'm running out of time. Here we go. You guys can see. 99. Oh, so majority of the answer is more or less than 25,000. 25,000. Yeah, 25,000 over a 35-year period, right? So basically, you gain, or like it's about that money, 25,000, like over 35 years in 1%, right? By the way, yeah. So because 1%, 72 rule of 72, kind of like half of that, all that kind of stuff. Maybe. I mean, if that's actually any math that we are doing here, right? So we couldn't get one more. Come on, who's the last one? 100 person to answer. Anyway, let me stop sharing and then go back to my slides. Oops. Was it helpful though? Just to like get you thinking about 1% fee, like how actually it may or may not hurt you?
Super helpful.
The answer, the objection from the prospect when you say, oh, admin fee, management fee, blah, 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 fees ain't so bad, but it is really, really bad for you. 1% versus 2% fee in a 401k is $54,000 in 35 years. The answer is way more than $25,000. Way more. Cool. Good job, Esmeralda. Anyway, and by the way, when I was thinking hard about how to illustrate this concept and all that stuff, my good friend, new friend in this business, Chris Sanders, actually shared it on his Facebook, and he's not here, so I couldn't even give him a shout out. But is R here? Hector, I know Hector is here. Hector is definitely here. Say, raise your hand, like wave.
We're here.
R, hey, what's up? So
What's up,
like,
man?
give this guy, Chris Sanders, good content, R, good content. He just posted something yesterday and just showed up to me right 2 minutes before this conversation. I'm like, damn it, I could have shared your content. It's awesome. Cindy Hall, my good friend, many, many more. We do good social media posting, just help each other out. And, we'll collaborate in the end later on. But he just posted it. And I'm like, oh, I don't need to find this picture. Like you have it on your social media. It's just copying. Michael.
Is the increase in fee relative because of the growth of the account over the life of the account?
Yes.
Is why the 1% relative to the growth?
So 2% of 100,000 versus 1% of 100,000. 35 years later, that 100,000 become million.
Gotcha.
Then it's 1% difference of that 1 million, not the original 1% difference, right? So objection from you guys talking to me, is like, people knows about fees already anyway. Why do we need to mention it? No, 58% of the people don't know they're paying fees. A quarter of the people know how fees are calculated. Of course, message is a little like, just like angle it a little bit different. It's from a news network. What do we expect? But whatever, it's okay. As long as just a good guess out there, more than half the people, when you mention about fees in your 401k, all that kind of stuff, they don't know anything about fees. Okay? So fees will kill them with their account. Cool? So far, so good? Value so far?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. I can always rely on you, Savita. You know that. All right, identify the opportunities, right? So the closing, the way to get the appointment after you say all that stuff with step 1, 2, 3, you can leave it there. You can do nothing, leave it there, roll over to an IRA or roll over to an annuity. And this is going from worst to best. And they say, oh, wow, that's crazy. It's true, it's crazy. What if I can help you get a grip of your retirement plan? Actually, it kind of works out in the English as well. I'm saying it can help you get a grip, of your retirement plan. What is a grip? Trey just randomly sent some message over, so I have to stop talking or something. I don't know. Anyway, so the grip is rate of return, lifetime income, principal. Just read those. Just read the white things on the screen. All right, I will go to the steps really quickly. Hold on. And last thing I do say though, I'm not as lucky, but if you are lucky to be 40 and above, you may get an upfront bonus. I'm not that lucky yet. I don't have the best program out there. But if you're lucky enough to be 40 and above, you may get an upfront bonus. Okay? So rollovers, really, just to identify it for all you guys. Biggest benefit for the clients is really help them stop bleeding with their leftover 401k. Biggest benefit. I always look for win-win-win. Don't just me, win, people don't win. Don't think of it that way. Always think win-wins, right? Biggest benefit for the client, it was help them stop bleeding with their 401k just on fees. Biggest benefit for us as a licensed agent, there's no chargeback. There's no health issue related. Suitability is the only thing that they need to get approved for. And you only need a life license. Some people don't like long-term care rider, all that kind of stuff, because you need a health license, a separate license, all that stuff. You only need a life license here. And the things to watch out for, that's the prospect. Only thing you really need to care about is what do they plan to do with that money? Is there any liquidity concern? And are they thinking long-term or short-term? If they want the bonuses and then they want to get the money short-term, this is not for them. This is not meant to be get rich quick type of scheme. This is meant to be a retirement planning, long-term lifetime income for the rest of their life. Are we good with that? And the steps, there are really simple 7 steps. And actually 2 of the steps are not even real. So really 5. So-called rollover steps. Okay, just take a screenshot if you want to, just know the client. 401k must be rollover, must be an idle 401k, not an active participating 401k. It must be an idle, old 401k, leftover 401k, idle, whichever we call it, right? Step 2, advisor HQ. The thing that we heard from 9 a.m. this morning, or 10 a.m. from the East Coast, right? Advisor HQ, Quantum, they have reps, and ask your SMD nicely, it's double underline, nicely, to help you get the product. And then get to the client, get together with the client, explain the product, start the e-app, and everything is on Advisor HQ. And then you wait for the case manager, get back to you, get suitability approved. Since 40% of you already submitted a annuity ever, you already know all this stuff. And then work with the client, get the funds, right? And then if you need to help mail in the fund, do that. And then last step, it's not really a step, but you have to wait for the paycheck. Right? Step 2, Advisor HQ, request illustrations. Advanced questions, ask your MD, SMD. If you really need to ask, really in-depth question, you can ask Mark Lindsay. And then when you request illustrations, you need the name, state, age, approximate rollover amount, type of fund, qualified or non-qualified. Is there a replacement, like the refinance thing, annuity refinance thing or not? Replacement or not is a huge deal. Starting age of lifetime income, if applicable. And the goal of the rollover. By the way, this is another technical plug. Just really sorry, but I have to say this. Qualify does not mean it's pre-tax. Roth IRA, Roth 401k, Roth account are C buckets. They are qualified plans as well. Qualified plans only means that it's a government-sponsored retirement account. So if you do a Roth IRA or Roth 401k rollover, it's still a qualified rollover. Just to be sure. Come on, trust me. I asked like 3,000 people about this. No, just 3. Each of them represent 1,000. Qualified plan actually means retirement. Non-qualified money really means outside money. Okay. And just log on to Advisor HQ, get appointed with Quantum, all that stuff. Make sure this is the majority, they say majority of the issue is when you log on with your email, you have to put email.ahq in the end. And then there's two tabs that you really need: illustration request, annuity, yeah. Click here to request annuity illustration. It's like right there. And then all the stuff that I asked you to prepare, just put it in and then you get an answer. All right. So, but I mean, some of you really care about, that thing at 9 in the morning, talk about products and all that stuff. This is just me right now at this point. And this may not be applicable a month later, because annuities, they are so competitive. All these companies want our businesses that they actually changes. They actually come out with different offers anytime. I call it, like, as Asian dude, like, I mean, Ray would understand. Ray knows people in the food industry. Like, we call it the seafood price, because it just jumped up and down, like depending on demands and all that stuff. But between 30 and 40, F&G Power Accumulator, Affine, Performance Elite. But based on this morning, maybe I would consider BCA. BCA 6, BCA 8, BCA 9, crazy, good stuff. Over 90, that's the bonus part that I mentioned about. If you're lucky enough to be 40 or above, you may get a bonus. That comment, remember? Affine Agility 10, Nationwide New Heights. And another consideration in National Life Fit. I know that they don't want me to talk about products, but anyway, I'm just good. Just remember this, okay? 59.5. Just talk about immediate annuity, F&G, Save Income Advantage. And then you need 2 or 3 sets of annuities, illustrations. One last thing, or last 2 things. Index standard, the thing that Mark talked about in the video earlier. This is really your friend, because when you have index and you're setting this up for your account, for your client, you don't know what to pick for the index. You only pick the highest number. They may not be the most optimal portfolio. And this is your backbone. Compared to what we had in a practice company, this is awesome. This, you take the guesswork out of the way. You can always rely on another person, another company to tell you what to select. All right, running out of time. This is an Agility 10. I just worked on it, like, as you can see, like a couple of days ago. It's actually a real client, but you don't have the name, so I think you guys are okay. $500,000 coming over, 45% upfront bonus. That's because he's lucky enough to be 40 or above. Here, like 75, 725 up here. And then the return you can see on the third column, 12, 33, 18, blah, 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 all that percent. Because I just happen to select the 2-year returns. Holy cow, look at this. This person, 53-year-old right now, put in $500,000 rollover money, retirement. By the time he's like not even retirement age 65, 63, 10 years later, accumulated 1.9 million. Holy smoke, 4 times your money. Okay, this is just for education purpose only. This is not meant to be, it will work out every day, every time. If I run the same number today, it might not show up the same. Just to illustrate, to show you, this is Nationwide New Heights. 500,000 gives you 30% upfront bonus. So 500 becomes 650, guarantee 8% for 10 years. By the time she's 63, he is 63, then 66,000 for the rest of his life. So it really depends. It's guaranteed income. Rover steps, step 3, the e-app with annuities is actually much better than like all the iOS application in my mind, just because the fact that everything is in red cells. It's in red bubbles, every tab. If you miss something, they will tell you you're missing something. Just put it in. Okay, so it won't even allow you to submit the policy or application if something's wrong. Just red cells. Quantum, get back to you with a case manager. Once it's approved, then you really actually, now everything you have done is easy in my mind, but the most difficult part is trying to get the fund from prior companies. lots of experience with that. But the more you do it, the more you know. The client, if they're savvy enough, they know how to roll that money over, you will need to work with them as well. Okay, that's it. That's all I have. I mean, the last slide is comparing B and C and all that stuff. Oh, last slide, I do want to show this. I have some articles, online articles. It might be helpful for you. It may not, but that's okay. Check them out. I have a business page, and then my IG, of course, most of you are following already, and then my YouTube channel, and you guys are watching the replay, and you know my channel.
All right, thanks, Rick. That's some good stuff. I'm glad you decided not to be technical.
No, I mean, this OG here, he saw my 100-slide presentation, and he called me right away and said, "No, this is putting me to sleep. Make sure, you know, we do it for the guys." I'm like, "Okay, do it for the people." So I haven't sleep for the last 2 nights just because of what you told me.
Hey, but Rick, I forgot to mention something. How many languages do you speak?
I do Cantonese, I do Mandarin, I do English, I do Thai, but when Thai people comes in, I would just leverage Fiji, you're here. Fiji, you're here. Yep. So if I have a Thai people, I just say, "Oh, I can do Sawadee Krap," and then like the rest of it, I just like offshore it. You know, I can do Vietnamese, and then I would just find a Vietnamese leader to help me out.
Did he mouth?
No, I can, you know, like go with you. Yeah.
I'm Vietnamese, by the way.
Yeah.
But so, hey, if you guys have anybody that speaks Cantonese, Mandarin, or anything like that, Rick could be a good partner to have you assist with that. So awesome stuff. Thanks, Rick. And I'm going to bring up our last speaker before we close it out. This guy, I don't know, some of y'all may know who it is, some may not. If you do, and if you saw myself and him walk into a room at the same time, you would think we were twins. Okay, everybody always thinks we're twins, but we have to say no, we're actually not related. We just get along really well. So this guy's so much fun. I love hanging out with him on any trip we go. And all the stuff we do, he is an industry professional. He's been around for a long time, so tons of experience. All right. And he's actually one of the OGs, and he's up in the Alpharetta home office. All right. So this guy's amazing. He's a wealth of knowledge, probably one of the best closers in the business. So we're going to let him close it out. So with that being said, hey, Trey Turner, are you there?
Yes, sir. Hey, Dave, thank you so much for that intro, brother. And you know what? It's funny, too, because our wives always get us confused whenever we're out drinking. You know, it's just like, hey, oh, wait, that's Dave. Oh, no, that's Jeanette. Oh, that's Cindy.
Easy to get us mixed up.
It is. It happens.
All right. So take it away, sir.
All right, cool beans. Hey, thank you so much. And hey, what's up, everybody? Good afternoon. It's good to see you all. Hopefully you can hear and see me clearly. Hey, listen, let's do a little bit of a chair break, if you don't mind. Just a little stretch. We are in the home stretch of this amazing training. Hadn't this been a great day? I hope that you are paying attention and realizing. But yeah, stand up, stretch it out a little bit, twist it around, crack. Oh, 3 times right there. And because I'm going to need you dialed in for this last session here. I'd love everybody to be able to be involved, to participate, and if need be, and answer some questions for me as we get going. But you know, I love the fact that we have got such access to leadership, access to partnerships and relationships in this business, especially when it comes to, if you guys have participated last week, Laura Finney did an amazing job on a training called STAR, right? And it's about personality traits. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about closing. And part of what I'm going to do is going to be a little back and forth. And I'll explain that. When we talk about STAR, STAR, if you don't know, is an acronym. It's personality traits or characteristics of people who are, S is structured, very organized, very disciplined, very, put together systematically. The T's are technical, theoretical. Give me as much information as I can. Let me process. Let me figure it out. Give me the numbers and the nuggets. The A's are action oriented. I love the phrase for A's are more like ready, fire, and then aim. And they're like, oh, wait, I was supposed to aim at something specific. And then R's are relationship oriented, right? People that are, hey, listen, I just really want to know that everybody's getting along and are we happy? And let's make sure that we all hug it out. And you ever meet somebody that says, you meet them for the first time and they're like, oh, hey, how are you? They're like, no, I'm a hugger. Right? Those are the R's, right? And so when you communicate and talk to people, understanding and knowing where people fit in that particular realm, after going through the training and practicing it and mastering it, you start to learn how to close the moment you meet someone. Because closing is not about finalizing the sale. You'll be closing from the moment you say hello to the moment you get a check, walk out the door, all the way to the time you continuously service them for the rest of your careers. And so we'll talk about a little bit of that. Most of what I do and how I'm going to train tonight, just so you're aware, is probably going to be really appealing to the A's and annoying as hell to the S's, because I'm going to be all over the place, right? We get ready to get it in and get it on and have some fun. I'm obnoxious. I'm loud. I might cuss by accident, Mike, so don't get mad. No, so we're going to have some good times, but we're going to go through it. And I want to share with you just a little bit about communicating with people when it comes to annuities. Just so you know, you are in a financial professional role, right? And I hope you see that. If this is your first time in the industry or you're moving around within the industry, we're financial professionals, and being a financial professional means understanding our craft. Understanding it and becoming an expert and a professional does take time. So what I encourage you to do, if some of the stuff that you heard today just kind of blew by you, if it literally sounded like Rick Cam speaking Mandarin, right, for the last 3 hours, you're not. Because I had a great mentor in my life that once taught me, know what you know, right? Be comfortable and confident in what you know. Then, Cynthia, know who knows what you don't know, right? And Dave, what's the final phrase in that? You remember it?
That's all you need to know.
That's it, baby. That's it. So fret not if you can't articulate or identify the quotients and the algorithms and the structures of the annuities and all that stuff. Man, you just need to be good with communicating and talking to people and having a grasp and understanding of your craft and what it is that you do. And so I'm going to talk about closing conversations and techniques, strategies, a little bit about annuities. I'm going to share with you a little bit about some organized structure that I have as far as rolling over money and maybe identifying the assets that could go into an annuity. But just if you wouldn't mind, just for a second, I just want to know, what do you think are the top 2 main 90% reason why you would market an annuity to someone? What are the top? There's a few of them. What do you think the top 2 percentages wise are the 2 reasons why someone would purchase an annuity? Give me an idea.
Downside protection.
Downside protection? Not necessarily. It's a great argument. It is there, but that's not one of the top 2 reasons.
Continuous
They're
payout.
afraid of losing their money.
Nope.
Life income.
Wait, Marlon, what'd you say?
Life income.
What kind of life income?
Guaranteed.
There you go.
Oh, okay,
Guaranteed income for life is number 1. Guaranteed. You heard Rick talk about it. You heard Ray talk about it, right? Never running out of money. That's the number 1 reason why you would market and someone would actually want to purchase an annuity. And I'm saying vertically, and Armand, I had to say that to you because you and I can market multiple types of annuities, right, with our licenses. So in just annuity in general, we're not getting specific with each company and so forth. So number 1 is guaranteed income for life. And what is number 2?
Legacy.
Legacy. No, that's a good one. That's not top 2 though. What else? I'm only talking to people that are talking to me. I can't read and talk at the same time. So I'm sorry if you're putting it in the chat. I see the bubble popping.
Rate of return.
Was that, who said that? What was it?
Rate of return.
Rate of return? No, that's a good guess though. Not number 2.
Not outlive their money.
Not outlive their money. That's going to go with guaranteed income for life. So Cynthia, yes.
And because it has the survivor joint benefits.
Yes.
Ooh, nope, not quite, Jacinia. It is
Market
a value.
protection. Market protection.
Market
Legacy.
protection. No. Oh, wait. Sadia, what'd you say?
Create a legacy.
Legacy. No, not quite. I'll give it to you.
Tax advantages.
Who said that? Was that Jennifer Reyes?
Yeah, I was gonna say
Reyes?
tax advantage.
Tax deferred growth. Tax deferred growth is number 2. The number 1 reason, because you can have an annuity and have great things. How many of you listened to Mark and those guys from Quantum when we started? They talked about income, they talked about legacy, and they talked about accumulation, right? You don't necessarily have to have an annuity for income, but that's a big reason why people purchase them. But you might have another reason why they do it, just for tax deferred growth. So those are the 2 number 1 and 2 top 2 things why someone would purchase and why you would market an annuity. So knowing those 2 things should help you in the closing process to be able to identify what it is that they may be looking for. So I'm going to go through and navigate a couple of different things here. I'm going to share my screen, and let me pull this up first so you guys don't have to look through all my stupid stuff. There we go. All right. You guys see that yet or no? Nope, not yet.
No.
Try it now.
Yes, yes.
All right. So how do you move money to with fixed indexed annuities? We're going to talk specifically now about fixed indexed annuities, and I'm going to highlight one in particular. But just know that there's a multitude of different types of annuities, whether there are immediate annuities, fixed indexed annuities, variable annuities, right? There's a multitude. We're going to spend our time today on the one that is the most prevalent and most beneficial at this moment for your clients, okay? And so when we talk about that, where money is on the move, right? Money is moving and it's going all over the place right now. And there are approximately just over 63 trillion with a T. Look at all the zeros there, right? That's 12 zeros of money that is in reserves that is available for you to move into a fixed indexed annuity at this moment, right? Banks, 401ks, 403bs, deferred comp, TSPs, all that stuff, right? Brokerage accounts, annuities, life insurance assets and proceeds can be utilized to fund annuities. And we talked about the benefit of guaranteed income for life, right? And that could be a big deal. So when you're identifying, well, how do I identify and notice what are the assets that I could move into an annuity? Well, if we look at it, this is a great little strategy here. If you're identifying assets for a client, then you can look and say, okay, well, are there mutual funds or a brokerage account or stocks or money in the bank? Yes, those can be moved, 403bs and 401s, IRAs, other annuities, Roth IRAs, cash value monies. Yes, all of these, when you're gathering information, can be utilized and put into an annuity. And so when some of you were talking about the other benefits of maybe a fixed indexed annuity, we talked about market and downside protection, and Armand said that. Some of you talked about creating a legacy, certainty, right? Eliminating fears. When we're educating and talking to our clients, if you want to close someone, teach them first, right? Help them. Teach them first and learn and understand where you're coming from, then they'll follow you all the way through. So if we talk about options in which people can save their money, one aspect that you've seen this chart before, right? There's a variable, a fixed, and an index strategy. Fixed rates of return simply are just that. They're low opportunity for growth, but they're typically very, very safe. And we're talking about CDs, bank accounts, or even money in a mattress or a Hills Brothers coffee can, which will apply to about 20 of you on this call that know what the heck I'm talking about there, right? Right, Savita? So we got these Hills Brother coffee. I won't even go into it. So fixed rate of return, limited opportunity. Got me? The opposite end of the spectrum is a variable account, which looks like this. It's a roller coaster. We talked about things like 401ks, traditional IRAs, mutual funds, individual stocks, all of the things in the market that go up and down. Now, I'm going to share with you something pretty neat and interesting about this. Does anybody have any idea, unless you're on my team, do not answer this because you all know, but I'm going to just throw it out there real quick. How many of you know or can guess what this time frame represents right here in the variable chart? Anybody want to take a stab at it? Just take a guess. What time frame do you think that is?
A year?
There's not a year. It's a great guess, though.
10 years.
10 years. Yes, it is a 10-year stretch. But tell me now, what 10 years do you think that represents?
The great meltdown
2006?
average? The last 10 years.
The last 10 years.
No, not
2007
quite.
to 17.
10
Trust.
2006.
2017.
First 10
Jennifer
years.
Reyes, what'd you say?
First 10 years.
First 10 years of what?
First 10,
This decade.
first 10 years of your investment.
This
No,
century.
I'll tell you this little secret.
2000,
Somebody mentioned it earlier during that. What's that, Marla?
I said 2000, 2010.
There you go.
Yeah.
2000 to 2010. You know what that was called, Vanessa Newman? That was called the lost decade. You know why it's called the lost decade? These are things you should be writing and understanding and talking to your clients, because if they're old enough to remember that time frame, you can teach and educate and close them right now. This was 2000 when it started. This was 2010. The reason it's called the lost decade is because during that time, the market went up, the market went down, the market went up and down and up and down, up and down, up and down. And by the time the decade was over, we were right about where we started from the beginning. Isn't that crazy? So 10 years, people were invested in the market, and that was what their gains were, just about zero. So it was a 10-year lost time frame of investing. So What you look at is 2000 was good. 2000, September 9/11 hit, boom, we went down in 02, 03, a little bit of a rebound. 05 hit and Regal, but back down in 06 and so this is 05 over here, 06, 07, October of 07, all the way through October of 2000 or through 2008. Remember that? And then 2009 and then in 2010. So that's really what happened. So that's why I'm telling you, if you use this strategy or ideas or this closing thought, you'll close your clients right now. Because I say, all right, let's look at this and say, all right, Jay, so why would someone go and risk and put money in the opposite end of the spectrum in a variable environment? And they have the potential of losses. And it's because they know without taking some risk, whether it's full out or calculated, they have no shot to be able to make anything. So people take that chance. They put money in the 401s and the IRAs and so forth, and they take a chance. And they could run into this scenario. But what if you had an opportunity in an index strategy? If we still use the market as our gauge, that same time frame, what would you have felt like at the end of 2010 if when the market went up, your money went up with the market? And when the markets went down, which you can't control, no matter what happened, automatically it locked in all of your gains. And you ended 2010 up here instead of back down here. How would that make you feel? And you ask questions, right? The art of closing is asking great questions to make people ponder, pause, or think and consider, right? Ponder, pause, think and consider. Like, wow, I don't know. That's a great question. So what do you think somebody would tell you? If you had the opportunity to know back then, know now, or know back then what you know now, would you have used that strategy? And 100% people would say yes. Well, guess what? That's what you're going to give them an opportunity to do when it comes to a fixed indexed annuity. You guys follow me so far? Say yes.
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 Yeah. Any questions so far? I mean, we just jumped in 12 minutes, but I'm telling you, get ready for it. So everybody good so far?
Yes.
All right, good. So now people have thoughts, they have questions, they have concerns, they have things that they're thinking about when it comes to retirement, right? The two major concerns that they have. I'll give you the answers for sake of time. Will I run out of money, right? Or will I lose my money? And so throughout history, that's really the big concerns that people have over the lifespan of their investments. And so if we go and look at it and say, okay, it's kind of what Cam was just talking about, right? We've learned this in a number of years, but so we want clients to simply have a grip on their money. You want to tell your client, I just want you to have a grip on your money. So I'll ask you this, Michelle, if I gave you these 4 options, which one of these is the most important to you? This is how you set it up. Which one of these 4 options that you must pick, Natasha, is the most important to you? Is it growth? Making sure that portfolio just goes straight up? Is it maybe just expecting a reasonable rate of return, somewhere between maybe 5 and 8%? Is it income for life to make sure and be certain you never run out of money? Right now, people are struggling and end up with more month than money. What if I could make sure that you never end up with more life than money, right? Income for life, or is principal protection and just holding on and not losing the most important one to you? So Michelle, if you look at those, you have to answer my question, not make up your own. Of these 4, this is what you're asking your client. You got to make them tell you an answer. You understand? You can't close with just telling somebody, letting them run it. So of those 4, which one of those is the most important to you?
Number 1, growth.
Number 1, growth. I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great opportunity, a great place to start. William Watkins, which of those 4, and it could be the same one, which of those 4 is the most important to you?
Income for life.
Never running out of money. I like it. Savita, which of those 4 would you say is the most important to you?
Income for life.
Income for life. I love it. And here's what you get to tell your clients. Make them tell you one. You can't have 4 be the most important. That doesn't follow logic, right? You just really, there's no such thing. Most means 1. So pick one, what's the most important to you? And you ask that question because now you're the hero. You know what, Savita, I think that income for life, that's a great place to start. And I tell you what I'm able to do is I'm going to give you all 4. what I'm able to do, you're providing value. You're bringing more to the table than they've ever seen before now. Hey, listen, I want you to get a grip on your money. These are all your 4 options. Which one's the most important to you? And they tell you, I just can't afford to lose. Or I just don't want to run out of money, income for life. I tell you what, I like that. It's a great place to start. I'm actually going to give you all 4. No kidding. Really? You think that you tell somebody that they have to choose? That's like, think about this. Let me stop sharing for a second. Let me play a quick game with you guys. Let's go with Joan. Joan Brown Claxton, you are a game show contestant.
Yes,
And
sir.
you have to choose between a 10-day trip to Europe, a 20-day cruise around the world, a brand new Mercedes G-Wagon, or free flights for life. Which
Free
one of
flights
those?
for life.
Free flights for life. Tell you what,
Yes,
Joan,
sir.
because you're you, I'm actually going to give you all 4.
Thank you.
You need to make your clients feel like they just hit the freaking lottery. Are you kidding me?
Totally agree.
That's what you're doing, and you're guaranteeing yourself an opportunity to be able to provide value and also excitement and energy, and people are going to want to be your best friend, right? They want to buy from you. You're providing that type of value. Does that carry over, make sense to you guys? I hope so.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
So let's get back to it.
Awesome.
So that infrastructure, I'm going to share with you one specific one that was highlighted with Quantum. Rick Cam just showed you a little illustration from that. I'm going to show you the Nationwide New Heights Select annuity. And here's what the benefit is. So not only am I going to give you whatever I said, right? The Mercedes G-Wagon, free flights for life, 21-day cruise around the world, and 10-day trip to Europe. I'm also going to give you an extra $100,000 in spending money, and I'm going to pay all of your bills for the next 10 years. Tell me that don't sound great.
I'm in.
Sign up.
Understand?
Yeah.
Here's what so I'm telling you. Now, you've got this grip here, and after you tell somebody, Armand, I'm going to give you all 4 of those, they're like, shut your mouth. Yes, indeed. In fact, on top of that, we're also going to get you a 30% bonus from the beginning towards your income and your pension value. And I'm going to guarantee that you never get less than 8% for the next 10 years on that same value. You can't tell me somebody's going to turn that down. You know what the questions are you're going to get? How's that possible? Sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? Right? That's what you get.
So
And that's what you want to hear. That means you sold it right. Right? And by the way, I'm not doing it for you. There's a company called Nationwide. Perhaps you've heard of them, right? They're the leaders in the industry providing this benefit for you. And I'm excited to be able to provide it to you now. You're done. All now is just semantics about a couple of numbers here or there, maybe plopping in an illustration, showing them what it's going to look like, right? But these are all things that are written and guaranteed as it shows. So, hey, a 30% bonus towards income, no less than 8% growth for the next 10 years towards income as well, right? So we talk about income. You can utilize the term personal pension, right? As we create personal pensions. I just had a conversation before today's call with a friend of mine who's overseas and coming over here, dual citizenship, and he was asking, what are you doing now? And I said, and I know his position and situation. So I said, hey, I'm really I changed my strategy, and I'm specializing working with people who are and providing and showing them how to create their own personal pensions so they never run out of money, especially people that, and I know he's an entrepreneur, and I know the people that he knows and the other people that are around us in our circle have jobs that don't provide pensions. So why am I talking in that way? Because I want them to, I'm going to help you put together a pension. Right? We just moved some money a couple of days ago for a client who worked for a big corporation for a long time, a lot of years, but she left the company and does not have a pension. So these are the terms and the things that you can use to help your clients along the way. So we look at 30% bonus towards income and pension. So you understand, just really quickly, there are 2 values income for an annuity, or use an annuity for income. One value is account value. The other value is income. Right, and they're in the same account, but they have two corridors, if you will, or two beakers, right? 2 towers. This tower of income is going to say, and I'll give you an example. They both start off with $200,000 in an account. Let's just go 100,000, make it simple. $100,000 in the account. The market, let's say whatever the index is that we chose in 1 year, grows 7%. No, let's go 5%. The market grows 5%, so the account value goes up 5, but the income benefit is minimum what? Talk to me. What's the minimum income percentage growth?
8%.
8%, which means that the account value is at 8, but the income, or at 5, but the income benefit's now here at 8. You follow me? And that's going to lock in the next year, and those numbers are going to compound the following year. So what if the following year the account does minus 1%? In a fixed indexed annuity, what happens to the account value here? Here's the answer. Nothing. Doesn't move. It does not move. What happens to your income value?
Stays the same.
8%.
Up another 8% again. Yes. So now you're understanding. This is what you've got to know, these little things, right? But you can share it and you'll show it, and I'll show you in a minute. But just understanding, in a fixed indexed annuity, your clients will never lose account value, and their income benefit in this example specifically is going at a minimum of 8% every year, no matter what happens. That is huge. You're giving you ever heard of something called the best of both worlds? You're giving your client the best of every world. There's no downside for a client utilizing this strategy. Okay. They just have to have the need and the means to be able to take care of it. So just in summary here, 130% of your initial purchase payment goes immediately towards your growth, right? And then an 8% compound annual growth for the next 10 years and a guaranteed income for life. So this is what something like that would look like on a chart. So for the next 10 years, we know at issue, let's say that we start here, which is initial 30, let's say it's $100,000 down here. And then immediately there's a 30%. So now the income value starts at $130,000 and grows at a minimum of 8% throughout that time frame. And in 10 years, we know that at 8%, it's going to be more than double. Why do we know that it's going to be more than double in 10 years? Who can tell me the secret equation? It's a basic principle of all money. Why do we know that it's
Rule of 72.
72. The stuff's not rocket science. You guys are killing it, LaShawna. Appreciate it. So you got to know this is a great benefit for your client, isn't it? And by showing them these simple, what did I show you? 6 slides? Nailed it. Nailed it. What questions do you have before we get started? That's a closing question. What questions can I answer before we get started? You're assuming the sale because there's nothing to poke a hole in. Right? So you're able to put your client in a great position. They can turn on income if they want to, but they don't even have to do that. Okay. I'll pause there for a moment. Any questions, you guys? Any questions with conversation or answering a question or a hiccup that might come in between there? Or I won't even give it I could say an objection, but most objections are just questions anyway. But yeah, go ahead, Dwayne. What you got, buddy?
Just a clarifying question. When you have a qualified account or to roll over,
yes.
Now we're talking about tax, avoiding tax or being tax deferred. That's still taxable, right? Or is the index part or the growth index or the index growth part not taxable? How does that work?
No, it's a great question. So let's clarify what Rick was just talking. So a qualified retirement plan. Let's just use 2 examples for everybody's ease of knowledge and understanding: a 401k or a traditional IRA, right? Neither of those have been taxed yet. So they're automatically growing tax deferred. So putting them into an annuity does not add an extra layer of tax deferral, but it is now a moving from a like to like product. That number, whatever the number is and whatever it grows to, none of it has been taxed. So upon distribution, whatever they take out at that time will be taxed. There you go. Okay, very simple. If it's never been taxed, here's an easy rule of thought with just a little bit of an asterisk. Rick talked about Roth. Typical simple thing, a rule of thought. Qualified money still qualifies for taxes. Okay? Non-qualified money has already been taxed, so you're only going to be taxed on the number above that when you take out the distribution. Okay? And one other thing for my wonderful T friends that are out there, there's a term, there's an acronym that you should know being in this industry and doing what you do. One of them is called FIFO, F-I-F-O, and the other one is LIFO, L-I-F-O. Okay, very, very, very important when you talk about taking money out of your plans. LIFO applies to annuities, which stands for last in, first out. So think of anybody ever, I'm going to do two things. Anybody ever had a black and tan? Anybody know what that is? It's a wonderful drink, by the way. So Guinness stout at the bottom, a little Bass ale on top. One floats on top. So the last thing in a black and tan is, or if you've got a, forget what those creamy drinks are with the foam on the top, right? Whatever the last thing is in a glass is the first thing that comes out. That's the same thing that happens in an annuity. So in Dwayne's case, let's say that he had a client that sold a house. They had $100,000 and they put that $100,000 into the annuity. It's already been taxed, okay? The growth on that annuity is, let's say it's just 10%, so it's $110,000. But the growth in that annuity comes out first. Last in, the growth comes out first, and then he's not taxed when he gets to the number that he put in. Okay, that's called your cost basis, which we'll talk about later. Okay, FIFO is life insurance. Life insurance is first in, first out. Right? So you put your money in, then you gain interest on top of it. The first money that comes out, think of that now as a styrofoam cup with a hole in the bottom. When you're ready to start taking income, the money you put in first comes out non-taxable because you never pay tax. You already pay taxes on that money, right? So that comes out first. You get to, and now the cream is there. It's like, I got to pull the cream out so I can get, but here's the deal. You get to take the rest of it out as a loan, which you get the opportunity to put back in if you choose to. Because it's classified as a loan, you do not have to pay taxes on that money either, and either you or your beneficiaries, depending on the timing, will actually have that removed from the death benefit, and that's how that works. Okay, Michael, what you got, buddy?
I just did this with a client with John and Tony, but I guess given the audience, I'll ask for just another level of clarification. So when we're talking about old 401ks and qualified versus non-qualified, I learned about the like for like. So if we rolled someone's old 401k from an old employer, our client rolled the 401k into their current employer's 401k, right? So they have now, their bucket was this, they rolled over, add in their new grow as this.
Yes.
We were able to take the old portion and roll it again. Is there a limitation to that as far as can they roll it a third time? Or like once they're no longer with that employer, they have to move it. Can they roll it more than once?
No, so it depends. Once it's inside of a new 401k, it's in the new 401k. All that is just the funds. When they rolled it over, it enhanced that new 401k now has more money in it. So all of the rules and provisions now are attached to that 401k specifically. If they took out or take out money from the same dollar amount that went in is in there. You can't reverse it, right? If it's already been established. So now that money's in there, that's going to come out as a withdrawal, not as a rollover, right? Unless client's 59 and a half years old, right? And then they could do something called an in-service distribution, which is, again, plan specific. We talked about that earlier when we had our little delay. We were just talking about the fact that that every 401k plan can establish its own rules. Most companies will allow for what's called an in-service distribution at 59 and a half years old, which I'm going to show you as we close out. But some companies, we just had one. No can do, right? So once it's into a new plan, those dollars, that asset is a part of the new plan. And so the only way to take money out of that is to take a withdrawal to put it somewhere else, right? People can borrow and take loans, but now that money is just kind of it's a shell game, if you will. And that's a whole nother layer of fun stuff. Okay. All right. Here we go. Next part. let's look at something else real quick. So let's talk about when you're closing and trying to market the annuity. Let's look at, let me see if I can find one here. Here we go. Oh, I'm not sharing, am I? Sharing is caring. So let's look at an illustration. What does one look like? Let's say, I'm just going to show you the very simplest part of an illustration for a New Heights Select. It is a, hey, listen, we want to be able to grow your assets so that you can build an income. And that was what it is. And one simple way to look at this, I'm just going to go right. There's a bunch of fun stuff in there. We're not doing illustration training today, but I want you to see this. This is a box that you're going to show your clients that's going to get them excited about the future. Because we're going to say, hey, listen, you're going to retire at age 60. This is a client, by the way, that put in $250,000 to start. They put in $250,000, and we are saying that we can guarantee by the time you're 65, your $200,000 for your income benefit will be $701,650. That's the lowest your amount's going to be, and your income is going to be minimum guaranteed. We can say at 65, you can retire with $3,000 a month, $37,538 per month every year, or per year, every year, as long as you're alive. No ifs, ands, or buts, no questions about it. Now, talk about the other end of the spectrum. We're going to go over here and say, now the most recent 12 years says that if we looked at what the actual performance was in the index that I chose for you, at 65, that'd be 1.3 million, and you'd be at nearly 70,000 a year in income. Now, and you clarify this, past performance doesn't guarantee future results, but if something like that did happen, then this is what we'd look at, okay? And then kind of a little bit of a midpoint. If a variable assumed rate was in play at 65, you'd look at 700,000. It's roughly just a few dollars more per year. But at 69, 4 years later, that number could be at 1.2 million. Right? Now, over here really quick, it says income-based benefit. Do you see that this number is never changing no matter how old someone gets? I'm going to tell you the simple, easy reason why. Answer to why that is, because that's the guarantee. The guaranteed was that number for 10 years. After 10 years, it's never going to go down, but that's as far as it can guarantee that it will never go below 701,000 for income. Anything above that is benefit and gravy. Over here it said, it grew to 703, right? At 67, it's still 701, but over here, now it's 973. That's significantly larger. It could grow more, but it'll never, ever, ever be less. And what type of comfort can you give a client to give them a predictable, certain number that they're going to hit at retirement? Okay. Now, again, there's more pages. There's another one on here that I use and I share you guys.
Find a secret passage? No, so.
So in this example, I just pulled this one right from that. This is $701,000, 31,000 in income at 250. So here's a little bit of a example of what it looks like. They put in $250,000, right? They started here, but that 250 got a 30% bonus, which means their income starts at $325,000. Is that pretty cool or what? By show of hands, real quick, does anybody know anyone in their lives that has or has ever had $250,000 in any type of an account? Okay, makes sense to me. Anybody ever seen someone with $500,000 in an account? 500,000 is a pretty good number, isn't it? And if somebody's got $500,000, they should feel really good. Do you think that they would throw away the opportunity for an additional $150,000 in their account to start? Said nobody ever. This is what you have, you all. This is how you market the annuity aspect. This is how you market the opportunity for the benefit for your client. And as we just said, the benefit for you is massive on the other side. Just do the simple numbers. On $500,000 at 7%, that's $35,000 in revenue that you generate. And then you get to keep a percentage of that, at least half. At least half of that. How many of you could use an extra 16 grand? Actually, let's make that $17,500 at least. That'd be all right. I'm all right with that. And all you did, who talked about this? Repositioned their assets. You guys remember Rick Camp? All you did was reposition the asset, maybe spent 3 hours at max an hour explaining, an hour gathering info, an hour explaining, and an hour of submission and delivery. 3 hours worth of work, you just got paid, I don't know, what's that, $5,500 an hour? Anybody ever had an attorney with a billable rate? That's your billable rate in that sale. Isn't that crazy? How many of you think you're worth $5,000 an hour? I'm in for that, right? That's a simple strategy, a simple way. You don't have to get into the weeds. Selling the sizzle, selling the opportunity, selling the value and the benefit for your clients is going to get you all of the sales. Some people will have technical answers, and all you need to do is defer them to somebody who knows it until you do, and then you'll be able to answer it, right? But in the meantime, well, this is it, right? And you just ask simple questions. Speaking of simple questions, I've got 5 minutes of open time if you have any other questions based on what we just talked about. Going once. Going 1.5 times.
I got a question. What about rolling over pension accounts?
Ooh, love it. It's all the same thing. All the same thing. Anything of value that someone has in a lump sum is eligible for moving into an annuity. And so I'll talk. So a pension is a qualified plan, right? Ricky said that earlier about being a government plan. It hasn't been taxed yet, right? Your pension's just growing tax deferred like everything else. So here's the title. It's called a cash out pension. The provisions of the pension also are set for the company, just like a 401k. So the question to ask your client is, you need to ask your HR department, is your pension, can you cash out of your pension? Is it a cash out benefit available? Some of them will say yes. Some of them will say no. And believe it or not, some of them will say a percentage of it is movable. Reason for that, just so you know, is because companies actually use pensions and leverage them for other things. So they have to have reserves and money set aside. They don't want to pillage all of the pension accounts because or set it up and give it away because they're pillaging them. So anyway, it's a whole nother story.
Trey,
Hey, Joan.
is there a limit to the amount of money they can roll over in the New Heights Select?
Oh, that's a great question. The answer is nope.
Thank you.
Yes, I like that question. Especially since
What
she's on my
is
team.
what is the ideal age for a New Heights Select?
Ooh, that's a great question, America. So let me tell you this. It is going to be, I hate to give this answer to you in this way. Obviously, it is a case-by-case scenario. However, it depends on which version you're utilizing, because some clients may not be in a space where they're needing to build income yet, okay? And some may be more in a position where they're younger. Let's say you've got a 30 or 35-year-old that's looking for accumulation a little bit more. Because remember, the income benefit is only guaranteed for what period of time? 10 years, right? That's in New Heights Select. So you asked about that product, so I'll answer specifically to that product. So if I've got a 35-year-old, I know, especially if they've got a qualified asset, they still got, 24, 25 years at least of growth. So I may not look at just an income benefit for a younger person. Okay, does that make sense? So it depends on their scenario, and it may be, and the reason why I have to give this answer with asterisks is because there may be a case where, and I know somebody in my office that had a 28-year-old that inherited a bunch of money, a lot of money, and in the millions. And so we did what's called a laddered strategy. And part of that money was separated and set aside, approved. We had to write and get it approved that a 28-year-old, but part of that set aside for pension, for income, for life, right? Because we know that 28-year-olds with millions of dollars could do crazy, stupid things. So we set that up so he couldn't get to it, couldn't touch it, put it in the trust, and everything was going good. Then the other stuff was set up with accumulation. Some of it went into an IUL, some of it went into cash, some of it went to buy a business. So there are scenarios where you can find, but it is really going to be your due diligence and responsibility as a financial professional and a financial strategist to come up with the right solution for that client. So age specific is really going to be dependent on that client's needs.
I got a question. I know we got to jump.
Yes,
Good to speak to you, Trey. But I have a client that would like to move both pension and 401k. Can they roll that over at the same time? Is that you excited to see?
I'm loving it because yes, the answer is absolutely yes.
Okay.
You know why? Because they're both qualified plans. Neither of them have been taxed, so you can put them in the same account at the same time. Now, they may be funded from a different location. One could be a pension from Delta, the other could be and a 401k from QT. That's fine. They're both qualified, so they'll get the money in a different time frame, but it can go into the exact same account. 100%. Great question.
So, and what if the client, they left the company, and what if they need to use some of that 401k? Just say like
you need to decipher why they need to use it. Is there an alternative plan that you can put together as a financial professional of them not to do that? Because if they're not 59 and a half, it's going to cost them nearly 40%.
Right. Okay.
Right. So we want to do that. It's if at all costs avoid it.
Okay.
If they have to have it, then you'll work that out with them and your other financial professional you're working with.
Okay. Thank you.
You got it. All right. One more. William, what you got, buddy? William, you're on national TV right now. Now you're muted.
Okay. If you have
Kelly, you got to mute yours. That's why. Kelly, just mute your microphone.
Okay.
Kelly Watkins, William's wife.
First, there's two questions. First, can you roll over a accumulated to an income? And what is the minimum that you can put in?
Good questions. So moving money from there's a structure to that question, and we are 2 minutes, so I'm going to answer this real quick. You can move money. You can't change from accumulation to income later. Income must be added the moment at issue, right? For all of your annuities. So most of your annuities. So when you put the annuity in, when you establish it, you're either in an income product or you're not. Okay. So you can't add it later. You can, however, if somebody has an Athene Ascent Pro, which is accumulation, and 10 years later, that surrender period is up, and now you want to move it to an income product, 100%. That's a full-blown strategy that we implement all the time, right? So you can move it from an accumulation product once the surrender period's over to the next one. Okay. All right. Kayla, you've been patient. I'm going to go ahead and answer you if you can get it in quick.
Just a really quick question. So if I am still employed and I have a 401k at that company, am I able to roll it or like switch it over to a different something else even if I'm still employed at that company?
Yes, and who can tell me the answer that I gave for that one?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you got caught.
You have to be 50.
Gotta be 59 and a half.
I was
In service distribution.
59 and a half.
in service. That's
59
right.
and a half.
Okay.
That's what it meant. Yes, I'm messing with you. But yes, so
Sorry.
service distribution, if they're 59 and a half and above, that's the only option. Okay. Well, that's not the only option. There's another one that's way too advanced to get into, but I'm going to mess with all of your leaders and make them pissed off at me. 72T. Okay, that's enough of that. All right, so moving right along. By the way, ask all your SMDs what that means and how it works, especially Armand.
Trey, you're wrong for that.
All right, let's get to it. Is this helpful, you guys? You guys good? You still with me? We're almost done. Let's see. What do I want? Oh, yes. I have for you 10 remarkably effective closing questions, but we're not even going to use those. I'm going to give you 10 more remarkably effective closing questions for annuities. All right? So go through these with me a little bit here. What does this look like for you? How does this work? Well, let me get rid of that so I can see. Here we go. All right. So here we go. Look, closing power questions, I think. Hey, would you like to be completely uncertain of when your income will stop? these are questions you're going to ask your clients. In fact, I'm going to send that out, but I'm going to talk to you first. I want to see you. And I want you guys, these are questions you want to ask your clients. Does that make sense? Okay. Hey, would you like to be completely uncertain of when your income will stop? If you ask that question to somebody, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. That's what you want. Yeah, there you go. Asking questions that make people, right? Pause, ponder, think, or consider. That's what you want. Think about that. You could ask more of an R question, because that would be a question that if somebody asked me that, I'd be like, damn, I didn't think about it like that. But if you were a more nurturing person, you could ask them, how do you feel about not knowing when your income is going to stop? Right now, because we're talking about marketing and closing annuity sales, right? Here's one for you. Anybody over 50 like me? I'm well over 50, by the way. So go talk to somebody over 50 and ask them right now, if you run out of money in your 70s, what will you do? If you run out of money in your 70s, what will you do?
Go stay with my
Because nobody at 25 is thinking about that. What you got, Armand?
Go stay with my children.
Yeah,
That's what people always say. They say that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, your children are financially independent already?
Welcome to Walmart.
Walmart greeter.
That's it.
Retirement home.
Possible. See, these are things. Hey, you ran out of money. You ain't in a retirement home. You can't go there. That costs money.
Trey, can I add something, please?
Yes, please, Cynthia.
I have been doing Medicare for about the last 5 years, and so I have a lot of clients and many Medicare, Medicaid people. Most people, when they retire, they do not have enough at all. Their Social Security is their retirement, and medical costs are going to eat up nearly 70% of that money. They're having to choose between drugs. I mean, all these things you hear about are absolutely truthful. So one of the things I look at when I'm talking to people, and I also say, if you put 100 people in a room and said, is Medicare free? 80 will say yes, they think so, because when they're younger, because they don't realize the costs associated. So you have to look at the whole picture, which is in my book, a financial picture, not just a Medicare picture. Because can you handle the costs in your retirement? That's
right.
the big, it's a big piece that people don't look at much.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Thank you for sharing that. Number 3, right now you have no guarantees on your money. So how do you feel about gambling with your retirement? Right now you have no guarantees on your money. So how do you feel about gambling with your retirement? That goes back to the slide that we talked about where people have IRAs and 401ks, right? You have no guarantees. So how do you feel about gambling with your retirement? Number 4, if I can improve your family's financial situation, would you allow me to do that? If I can improve your family's financial situation, would you allow me to do that? Right? Simple little power questions for you. Going to the in-service distribution question, Kayla. This is a great one, right? Now that you're over 59 and a half, did you know you no longer have to experience a loss in your 401k? Now that you're over 59 and a half, did you know you no longer have to experience a loss in your 401k or your 403b or your traditional IRA or your Roth, any of that stuff, whatever, because it's movable at 59 and a half, right? To secure and put all of the features and benefits that are associated. Somebody, by the way, they can actually take, let's say you got a 60-year-old client who wants to retire at 65. They got $300,000 in their 401k. And now and you're like, okay, maybe we should do an in-service distribution. And they're like, oh, but I need to retire. Like, okay, let's take your winnings from the blackjack table, put them over in a vault and guarantee that grows at 8% for your income for the next 5 years, guaranteed, and still contribute more to your 401k while you're there. Because some people don't want to stop their contributions to the 401k. You've got to get past that. And you know what? It's okay if they're enjoying it and they're getting a good company match. Fantastic. I think that's a great idea. You're a financial professional. You don't have everything, but when you're doing the right thing for the client, sometimes letting them put money in their 401k, if that makes them feel good. A 60-year-old that's been putting in their 401k for 30 years, telling them today you've got to stop could be like plunging them in a cold plunge. I can't wrap my head around it. No, don't stop. I want you to keep doing it. You're doing great. Let's just take the put them over here and secure them in this vault. And we're going to increase that by 8%. So I know at 65, that 300,000 is going to get an 8% compounding bonus at $24,000 every single year for income. Can I say for certain in your 401k, what's your 300,000 going to be next year? Is it going to be 324 or could it be 218 or 285? It could be, well, which one would you rather have? Possibly 280 or certainly 324? And keep putting in over there, right? Those are all the good things.
Can I have you talk to my brother, Trey? We tried that with him. He didn't buy it.
You didn't buy it. And that's a big challenge, right? Because they don't buy necessarily from us because our family members know what we've done for all our lives. Heck, when I started, I owed my granddad $5,000. So he really wasn't listening to me. So the reality is, especially with people that grew up, they don't know you as the professional, but they trust you. And trust is everything and credibility is the rest of it. So when you now merge your trust factor with someone you know with the credibility of an established financial professional, blend them together, and you got a Reese's peanut butter cup, baby.
I actually leveraged somebody that's been in the industry 21 years. It didn't work.
Hey, man, everybody's not Trey. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Number 6. No, I'm not going to use that one. Number 7. On a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you about changing your financial situation? On a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you about changing your financial situation? Why is that a closing question? Because you need to know if that's a client you want to work with. If they're not motivated or intrigued or enticed and moving, why are you going to waste your time trying to convince them? Go find someone who is. If you ask that question and they gave you anything a 5 or below, you're like, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. But I'll tell you what, who do you know that's more interested, right? Get some referrals. You don't have to be a smart ass like I am and say, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Because that might be, maybe they're not motivated because they think their situation's good. But I know most of them aren't. Okay. Here's one for you. When you're gathering information about your clients and you ask them this question. So by the way, Dexter, I wanted to ask you, when's the last time you sat down with a financial professional like myself? Pat yourself on the back, let them know I'm here and you're not. I'm a financial professional. I'm licensed, I'm trained, I'm fully equipped, I'm knowledgeable, I'm ready to help and serve. When's the last time you sat down with a financial professional like myself? Many times the answer will be nothing. Here's why you're doing that. All you're doing is elevating your position so that people see you in a financial, that they need to listen to what you're saying. Okay, just giving yourself a little bit of kudos, and that's okay. Is the safety of your money important to you, or would you rather just cross your fingers at retirement? I like that one. Is the safety of your money important to you, or would you rather just cross your fingers at retirement? Oh, here's one. If I could show you a way to recover the losses in your retirement account with a free signing bonus, what reason do you have not to take advantage of it? If I could show you how to recover the losses in your retirement account with a free signing bonus, what reasons would you have not to take advantage of it? Not, is that something you'd like to hear? I don't want people telling me yes or no. Tell me why not. You lost 30 grand, I can get you back 60 to start. What reason would you have advantage of that? Ask these questions, by the way. Some of them you got to be prepared for the answer. And they might beat around the bush, but the bottom line, when you peel back the layers of the onion, and their answer may be, I don't trust you. I don't know you like that. You've never done money. You were a plumber 6 weeks ago, right? That's okay. Let them, they won't say it to your face, maybe because they like you, they care about you, whatever. But that's oftentimes when you're talking about things that make so much sense. There's a closing question that we have that we use for our team. If the situation was right and the money was good, would you at least want to hear about it? If somebody tells you no to that answer, just run. Just run, because they're crazy. And you never know what's going to happen next. If the situation was right and the money was good, why would somebody not want to hear at least more? If you're not even intrigued by that, then you're telling me that you just don't want to do business with me, and I'm all right with that. I got over what you think about me a long time ago. All right. 2 more.
Trey, sorry.
Yes.
Would you
Yeah,
mind show us the presentation that, thank you.
Oh, I'll show that when you show me you, Lucky. I don't even know who you are. You could be a spy, be an implant. Ah, there you go. Look at you. You got a background, all that stuff. Why you not on camera? You guys are killing me. All right. I'm going to send it to your leadership and they'll get it over to you. Okay. Number 11. And then I got a bonus one. Wouldn't it be nice to have a predictable, guaranteed income for the rest of your life? Wouldn't it be nice to have a guaranteed, predictable income for the rest of your life? One area of your life you never have to worry about again. Wouldn't it be nice?
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Every now and then, Shannon, I come up with one or two. Wouldn't it be nice to have a predictable, guaranteed income for the rest of your life? Sure would. I know. I've been working. That's actually what I do now. So we have to talk someday. I'll maybe show you what I do. You want to grab a new client or you want to tell your clients and work through that with them? That's a great question. And then the last one is a bonus question that I got 4 weeks ago in New York. I got this past week in Arizona, and I got it again today. And I'm like, I got to use this. Here's a simple question for your clients that already have annuities. When's the last time you refinanced your annuity? If you're doing a mortgage for somebody, if you're doing a financial needs analysis for someone, and they go through and they tell you that their interest rate is 11%, would you not ask when's the last time you refinanced? You would always ask that. So you say, hey, listen, when's the last time you refinanced your annuity? If they already have one and you look at that form that we showed you in the beginning where you can put in their assets, or on the FNA online where they're putting in assets and they have an annuity, don't freak out. Ask more questions.
Question.
Really? What year did you get that annuity? How long have you had it? Oh my goodness. When's the last time you refinanced your annuity? Right? Because the older annuities, things have changed. And by the way, annuities change every freaking year. All of them. Every company's fighting, and you'll get different companies jockeying for position each year. So every one is competing with the last one to make it better and enhanceable. So you always have refinance opportunities. Mariela, you had a question?
Or you kind of answered it. So it doesn't really mean that the last person who did the annuity for them kind of jacked it up. It's because they're constantly changing it. And so I didn't know you could revisit it.
Yes, that's a great question. Yeah, thank you very much. Because sometimes we look at folks and it's like, oh, they did a good job. I have no more opportunity. Somebody didn't have to mess up, right? There were annuities that were being sold at some point in time. By the way, I was around long enough in this industry. Since 1998, I started in the industry. 2002, I started with our business group, if you will. And some annuities back then were 15-year surrenders. For fixed index annuities, 15 years, and that was all you could write for some people, right? I've had my securities licenses since 2002, but in the fixed world, that's why we didn't sell a lot of them, because it was a very long time of commitment that, and it was hard to get them out of it. But now, if somebody's in an annuity and they're kind of upside down with their watermarks, or they're not performing very well, now, if somebody's got an annuity and they've lost some money, and maybe there's even a couple of years left on surrender, there may be an opportunity to refinance that because of a 30% bonus. Or there's a 20% bonus, not for income, get this, for principal. So if somebody puts 100 grand in, they immediately have 120,000 in cash, not benefit value. So now if they're upside down, or they got they have a $100,000 annuity, and they've got a 5% surrender period left for the last year or two, you can give them a 20% bonus, and 5 of that comes off to pay for the old annuity, and the extra 15% now starts their new plan. There's ample opportunity, right? Just uncovering it and figuring it all out. Don't put it on yourselves. Get with your field trainers, get with your S&Ds, take them along with you and let them teach you along the way so that you could do a great service for your clients. If you haven't gotten signed off and you don't understand this stuff or know how to articulate it and get results, you shouldn't be doing it on your own anyway, right? Hope you know that. But talking with someone, and that's how you learn. We call it field training, where you go in the field, you're learning more, because you'll do a little bit on these calls. Let me tell you, our training calls are like you reading books on how to hit a baseball. It really is. What that means is you can read a book on how to hit a baseball, but let someone throw one at you at, like, just say 50 miles an hour. It's gonna be pretty hard to hit, isn't it? If you've never seen it done before. This is your hitting a baseball, right? And learning is on these calls, right? The physical practice of swinging and learning, and hey, keep your elbow up, swing your hips through, make sure you get your front foot down fast enough, come through the strike zone. That's what your field trainer is going to teach you one-on-one in those appointments. And that's how you get hands-on learning and education. You guys following me? The big deal. It's a very important distinction of what you need to be doing with your clients. But the things that we're talking about should help you identify or be identifying, writing down people that could benefit, right? Like LaShawn said, talk to my brother. Other people like, I just had a client like that last week. Yes, brainstorm, put those down, and then work in tandem with someone to get that deal closed and brought to fruition. LaShawn, what you got?
I was going to say there's some really bad ones out there. So just a quick story. I had an older lady that an advisor took everything she had. He wouldn't even call her back. We finally got her paperwork. Less than a year, she lost so much money in a fixed indexed annuity. It was a year old, so I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move it, suitability wise, everything. But I did find out that I could tell her, I can't be part of it, but if you want to surrender it, then we can go do something with it. So that was still something that I learned.
There's a touchy world, and it's touch and go. And so you're going to have bad seeds everywhere you go. And the one thing that I learned a long time ago is that we are great professionals. We're not magicians. Sometimes people are just in situations and all you can do is just be there to walk them through it, kind of walk them through it and be there for them and get them started somewhere else or on the next plan, or help them identify it and be their support system, if you will, and navigate, and then tell them, hey, listen, you've been wronged. And wouldn't you love to be able to learn how to do it right and be able to use that as your platform to go out and carry on the message and maybe be a flag carrier for our company? Let me partner with you and let's go out and make, let me tell you, the biggest movement, our industry was created by a man whose family was done wrong by a whole life insurance. Do you understand? He became a billionaire and created the model that exists in 20 companies nowadays. So getting behind the mission, having something to fight for, and taking somebody and saying, hey, listen, you were wrong. I want you to partner together with me so we can get the right information out to people and join me in business. Like, right, bam. Now you got a new recruit who's in it for the right reasons. Cool beans. All right, you guys. I got a couple other things to share, but I'm not going to. I'm going to tease you and wait for it to come up on Wednesday night trainings. Man, this has been fun. I hope you learned a lot, got some value, all that good stuff. And I'm going to turn it back over to my main man, Dave Henning. I don't see him anymore, and he was on my first screen, but I don't know. David, where you at, buddy?
I'm right here, Trey. I'm here.
There he is.
So,
all right, brother. Hey, thanks, Dave, for letting me share, man.
Hey, that was some good stuff, Trey. Everybody fired up, man. Was Trey awesome or what?
Indeed.
Trey is always awesome, baby.
Yes.
It's crazy. We got so much stuff to cover, so much to learn. We're gonna keep bringing training classes to everybody. Trey and a lot of the other leaders, they do a great job on Wednesday night. So what we'll do is we'll drop the link in the Elevation group me for you guys if you want to jump on Wednesday night to get more of that knowledge. And actually, we're gonna import some of the training we had for today over there because we're pretty much out of time. So we're going to go over 15 benefits of a fixed indexed annuity on Wednesday night. Right, Trey? I'll let you wrap that one up. So good stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this out here with this last 8 minutes on the homework and some announcements because I promised you some announcements. But I want to give you guys a couple of quick tips right now on where do you find annuity clients. Okay? So Trey talked about a couple different things. So did Rick. So did Reymund, right? So one thing I want to challenge you guys all to do is ask everybody you know, okay? Ask everybody you know if their employer, okay, if you have friends that work at a large employer, ask them, do you know if your employer allows in-service distribution? Okay? If you know a large company, okay, like I live right here in Tampa, Florida, right down the road, we have Tropicana, so they're a large employer. There's a lot of large corporations around. Ask anybody that works for these large companies, do you know if your employer allows in-service distribution? Their answer is probably, I don't know. So, ask them to find out for you. And if they do, that means any coworkers they have that are 59 and a half or older may be eligible to roll that 401k money out. Here's another simple trick for you. How many of you guys are on LinkedIn? Who's got a LinkedIn account? Okay. On LinkedIn, do they make announcements about job changes? All the time. So if somebody says, hey, I got a new job, I left my employer, that should throw up a little trigger for you and say, hey, you know, what have you done with your 401k? So, you know, that's a good one. So I want to challenge you guys to go out and do that stuff, you know, and then here's the scoop. Maria, can you pull up the homework assignment? There we go. Here it comes. All right. So here's your homework assignment for the next one. And then I have a quick announcement. Okay. I want everybody to be prepared for the next class. So I want you to read the book, The Financial Pocket Knife by Jim Stoddard. Okay. So make sure you read that book. It's a great book on the IUL. And the awesome part is it talks about all the things an IUL can do for a family, not just the cash accumulation. You know, you want to separate yourself from the rest of the industry. Everybody else is all talking infinite banking, bank on yourself, you know, all the cash accumulation. And in reality, if you're selling an IUL properly, it shouldn't be for just the cash accumulation. It should be for all the other benefits it does as well. Okay? So The Financial Pocket Knife, amazing book by Jim Stoddard. Okay, so your previous homework was to complete 5 F&As in between classes. Okay, we're going to have you do another 5 F&As before the next class. Why do we want you to have all these F&As ready to go? Because we want to show you how to convert from an F&A to a client. Now, did you guys learn a lot about annuities today? Now, how would you like to go back, take the knowledge you learned, and apply it to the F&As you did? Now you should know what assets somebody has and if they have an eligible rollover. Well, next class, you're going to have 5 more F&As. What if we discover opportunities to help somebody with an IUL? Okay? So, you know, we have opportunities with rollovers. We have opportunities with an IUL. We're going to show you how to convert F&A to client. Okay? So make sure you guys get those F&As done. Number 3, make a top 5 list of each category. Okay? So who do you know that's married? You know what the number 1 reason for divorce is?
Finances.
It's financial
And
stress in the
cheating.
household, right?
Money.
So if you know somebody is married, how would you like to contribute to them having a higher likelihood of staying married? Because now they sat down with you, they did a financial analysis, they understand what's important to their spouse or significant other, they're budgeting together, they're talking about money together, they now have common financial goals. So you just help that marriage have a better chance of success. Okay, so who do you know that's married? Okay, who do you know that has children? We're going to be talking about $1 million babies and how we create generational wealth. How many of you guys seen my hat that says Legacy One? Legacy One is all about creating generational wealth. Okay, if I asked you right now, how much is your family name worth? Who could tell me? You know, you realize you can create $1 million, you know, net worth for your family, for your kids, your future kids, your grandkids, just by implementing generational wealth strategies? We can do so much to put our kids in a better situation. Who do you know that have parents that are approaching retirement? Okay, so talk to your friends that have parents who are approaching retirement. We can give them income strategies. We can give them long-term care strategies. We can assist them with all kinds of planning. How about business owners? How would you like to implement executive bonus plans, buy-sell agreements, key person policies for business owners? You're going to learn all about that next class, right? And how about homeowners? We're going to learn a lot about how to properly implement mortgage protection strategies. So your homework assignment for next class, make a top 5 list of each one of those categories. Who do you know? Who do you know that we can go help and put them in a better position? And number 4, I want everybody to go out and watch The Power of Zero by David McKnight. Incredible movie talking about where we're going with the taxes in this country. And you're going to understand the importance of the strategies that we implement. Okay, so watch The Power of Zero. And as a bonus, I'm going to tell you, read the book. Okay, so he also has a book called The Power of Zero, which talks about tax buckets and strategies to help people minimize their taxable impact. Okay, because would you rather have an income in retirement that's taxed, or would you like one that's tax-free? So watch the movie, read the book, and do those other homework assignments. Now, big announcement. During this class, I reached out to Mark Lindsay from Quantum. Okay, so you guys know we have Velocity coming up, right? So July 11th, 12th, 13th in Arizona, in Phoenix, Arizona. That is also where the Quantum headquarters is. So that Wednesday, that Thursday, they're going to do home office tours of the Quantum office. Who would like to go see the Quantum office? So everybody that wants to go that Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, whatever it is, the Wednesday, Thursday, we are going to be doing home office tours. I asked him if we can do a special VIP tour. He says yes. Okay. So the top 20 income or annuity producers from the beginning of April to the end of June. So April, May, June, top 20 annuity producers for those 3 months will get a special VIP tour. You know what's cool about a VIP tour? Well, you're going to get a little bit more attention, a little bit more training, and they have awesome swag. Like you'll get cool things. Like we got the Athene hat, we got the nationwide Wi-Fi headphones. Who wouldn't want a nice pair of headphones? These things are like $100 and some bucks, right? But they're going to do some cool swag, cool attention, specialized stuff. You'll get recognized at convention for being one of the top 20 annuity producers in Vantage. All right. So if you're not registered, Maria, can we throw up the link for Velocity in the
Absolutely. It's coming soon. Coming soon.
All right. So we're going to leave you guys with this. We're going to put up the poster for Velocity. I highly recommend you guys go. The team that represents the most is going to get the most out of it. Trey, how many people are you going to have there?
100.
Where's, let's see. Let me check. Is my boy Beauvais on here? Jason, you on here still? Well, LJ, all those guys, you know, we're going to have massive participation in this event. So I'm telling you, the team that has the most representation is the one that's going to dominate the rest of this year. Okay. So we're going to get up and get every single ticket that's left. I think we're pretty close to halfway sold out already. So if you don't beat me to it, I may buy up all the remaining tickets. Okay. Because we're growing pretty fast. And I know LJ's growing pretty fast too. So he may try to beat me on buying all those tickets. And then once I say that and Beauvais gets wind, Beauvais may try to beat me and buy all the tickets. So a lot of these tickets are going to go fast. Trey's going to buy 100 tickets today. You know, so be prepared. Velocity, this is going to be an event like no other. I'm super excited. We're going to actually be on a NASCAR racetrack. We're going to be able to celebrate and do the training inside Jeff Gordon's The Barn. Okay, we're going to get to do laps around the racetrack. We're going to do home office tours, you know, of Quantum. We're going to have special speakers coming in. It's going to be a first-class event. So as we wrap up right now, make sure you guys get your Velocity tickets if you're going to head out there. And most of the stuff we went over today, we will post inside the group meet for you. It's going to take a while to convert the recording, so don't look for that right away. But everything else we'll put in there for you. All right? So everybody have an awesome weekend. It was a pleasure being here with you. Let's go over and take over the industry. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, David.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ta-ta,
everybody.
sayonara.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
That was great. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.